Bum, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum. I think we are live. I think we are live. I never actually know when we're live. I'm just going to assume we're live now. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. This is kind of a Poker Live podcast fused together with DFS Week because my guest today is a guy I've known for quite a long time. Finally, we get him on the podcast. We've been talking about doing a podcast for a while now, but we finally got a good time to do it. We're joined by my young friend Ryan Daut. AK, what are you so serious for right now?
I don't know, man.
They can see you. What are you so serious for right now?
I don't know. I'm not watching the stream because I don't want to mess up with the audio.
I feel it. We're joined by my buddy Ryan Daut, aka what's your name on Daut44? Is that what it is on the?
Yeah, I always go by Daut44.
All right, we're joined by my buddy Ryan Daut. Welcome to the podcast officially, man.
Finally, I'm on here. I've been watching it for years. I mean,
Technically, well, we were gonna have you. I think we've talked about having you come on a couple times over the years, right?
yeah. I mean, I know how it is. It's like there's a lot of people that need to be on, and I'm actually not nearly as interesting as most of the people you're having on. I feel like I have like a common story in two areas, and like, dude, I just watched your Bill Perkins podcast last week, and that like blew my mind.
Yeah, that one was
for 3 straight hours. I was like, how am I going to go on after this?
Yeah, that one was really good for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if people out there, I'm sure we got some new people to the podcast. If you haven't seen yesterday, this is DFS week. I had Sal Hill's son, aka Max Odori, on yesterday. Very nice. I like that. I think he's Indian. I like that guy, man. I don't know why he's so fucking hated just because he's.
I don't get it. He's so chill, and like I've never seen that like kind of like most people who are as aggressive and degenerate about like gambling as him are super like intense people like Dan Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like so chill and laid back, and he's just like firing without a care in the world. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I expected him to be a little bit more like kind of introvert, like not even like I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's like more like the guys where they're like super this or super that, but he was just like some normal fucking kid who's like good with numbers and good with programs and good with algorithms, and then he's figured out a way to just have this great amount of success at DFS. So yeah, it was real fun to get his story on there. But guys, if you're watching this live, let me know the audio level sounds, because yesterday I played it back. This is my second time using this new setup. I thought the audio level was a little bit off. I thought Sal Hill's was a little bit louder than mine is because the microphones are different. So if people out there watching can let me know, make sure that the levels are kind of on track when you're listening, please. That would be good. And then, yeah, guys, we're going to be all this week podcasting. We got tomorrow night my buddy Asani Fisher, Thursday night Jonathan Bales, Friday Adam Leviton, and Saturday Evan Silva. So, Ryan, let's get into it, man. So, as you mentioned, you got two backgrounds. I love how you said two common backgrounds, by the way. Like everyone has a lot of success at poker for an extended period of time, becomes a sponsored by Full Tilt, and then switches over to DFS and makes it to the highest stakes. Like that's a very common story, sort of thing.
Well, I mean, the level of success might not be, but I feel like almost everyone watching the pod came from poker, and then there's a lot of DFS people too, and it's kind of the same rise through the ranks story in both games, and a lot of people have experienced it.
A lot of people have experienced the rise to the high stakes in poker.
Well, I mean, maybe not necessarily the high stakes, but like there are tons of people who've accomplished more than I have in poker. If you take out like a couple live tournaments, a couple online tournaments, there are a lot of people watching who have done really amazing things in poker. So they know how it is, like learning a new game and working your way up through that. And DFS was, really similar to poker.
Yeah, it seemed like you were doing a lot of rock climbing stuff when I was seeing what you're up to. So you're rock climbing, and all of a sudden I see that you're doing really, really well at DFS. It seemed like it happened pretty fast when you switched over.
Yeah, so I mean, I always did season long stuff because it was like everybody did it and it was fun. And I started dabbling in NFL probably late 2013, and I was in a group chat with Kyle Cannon and Ruthless, Adam Levy, and some other poker guys like Greg Dyer. I actually think CSU Ram was in that chat, but he didn't really participate much because he was already like one of the best players in the world. And a couple of the guys were serious, and a couple of us were just kind of goofing off and doing it for fun. And the serious guys were winning money, and the guys who were goofing off like me were just like losing pretty consistently. So I just kind of assumed that I was a better season long player, that would work better for me. And then a year later, I was like, why don't I put more effort into this and try to do well? And it went a lot better. So, I mean, my first season did not go well. I probably lost like 2,000. And then the second year, I didn't really play at all after football season until the next football season. And then the second year started going really well.
So you've been playing DFS now for how many years has it been now?
Well, the first season was the 2013 one. And then since then, it's been probably like 20 months since I've been taking it seriously. Probably 22 months, right at the start of NBA 2 seasons ago.
Pretty sick. I mean, it seems like now. What are your main games you play now that you do GBPs and you do heads up, cash games, all that stuff too, right?
I try not to play that many GBPs because it's like a totally different skill set, and whatever you're good at tends to bleed over into the other. There are very few people who do both well. Mm-hmm. Sahil is one of them. But yeah, I mean, most of us kind of do much better in one than the other. And I've never really had that much success in GPP. So I kind of play them just because they're there. And I figure I'll throw a lineup in. Sometimes I'll mass enter. But for the most part, I'm just kind of playing cash. And I play basketball, football, golf, and baseball for like the early part of the season until I start sucking.
Golf, huh?
Yeah, golf. Dude, golf is the best one by far because, like, all you got to do, there's no positions. You just pick 6 guys, and then once it's set, you just you can let it go and like check in whenever you want. You get 2 really fun sweats. You get one for the cut and one at the end of the tournament. It does kind of suck when like 3 hours into the day, you're toast,
right?
For an entire weekend, but then you can just not watch and wait till next week, and it's a 1 day a week thing. So I don't know. It's really nice having like almost the whole summer off if I chose to.
Isn't golf the one that got you become the most hated player in DFS? I couldn't listen.
Yeah,
Okay, I gotta tell people this. So I know Ryan a long time, man. Ryan seemed pretty inline fucking guy. Okay, so when I go to Roto Grinders forum and I see Ryan's one of the most hated guys in the forums, I'm a little surprised. I'm like, wait, what is happening? Why did this? I just was unexpected. I gotta say, Ryan's been playing poker for a long time, man. I never heard anything bad about Ryan, man. Okay, so I was a little taken aback when I saw this, and that's when I said, like, we got to get you on let's talk about this on the pod because we got to figure out what's going on with this, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love Sorrell and all, but Sorrell, like, I don't feel like I've done anything to try to be like the Sorrell of DFS. Like, Sorrell has taken whatever he does to a whole new level, and I had no clue anything I was doing would be considered wrong. And I basically have one guy who has a huge vendetta against me and has called me out every time there's been something that I did that was ever gray or in the wrong, and it blew up. And yeah, I mean, he's right about a lot of things. I don't know why he has a personal vendetta against me, but yeah, he's basically single-handedly caused everything to blow up on me.
So why don't you explain a little bit exactly for people out there who maybe they don't follow much about DFS, but they're curious about what exactly is going down here.
Okay, so actually it started in, I guess, March or February or March. DraftKings ran a tournament where it was basically like a 2-month-long $5,000 entry where it was kind of like the World Cup, like the way the World Cup is set up for soccer. They put people in groups of 4. You play everybody else head to head. The top 2 advance to like a knockout stage, and then you have like best of 3s or best of 5s, and it lasts for 6 to 8 weeks. And I worked together with Make It Rain 84. So like in football and in basketball, we use the same projections and work on teams together. And we had both been invited to this tournament, and we were talking about it, and we're like, this is not really as big as we thought it would be, because like we thought it was going to be this super prestigious thing where it's like the best players are playing, and it ended up being like a 2-month-long 5K. So it was like, imagine it's like the comparison between DFS and season-long fantasy. Like they almost turned it into like a season-long thing where yeah, if you play a $10,000 buy-in season-long league, it's the big buy-in, but when you average that out over the season, it's less than 1,000 a week, and I'm sure you're playing even more than that in DFS. And you were just kind of like dabbling last year.
Yeah.
So it was a super elongated thing, so we weren't really thinking about it. And then like the morning of, I was like, shit, if we end up in the same group, all this weird stuff can happen where, we're running the same lineup every night. And it like ties and things of that sort could really mess up the group standings. So I was like, well, let's just throw the tournament on purpose, like the seeding tournament on purpose, finish in last, and they'll put us in different groups. It was really stupid. Like I should have just emailed DraftKings and been like, hey, we work together. We probably shouldn't be put in the same group. What should we do about this? Their solution probably would have been one of you should play and one of you shouldn't. Which is what we should have done. But like we've realized it like 4 or 5 hours in advance, and we're just like, let's just dump the seeding tournament. And then like immediately after, I'm like, hey, does anybody like my team? And I was just kind of like making fun of it. I wasn't trying to hide anything. And people were like, they're colluding. But I mean, to me, collusion is like two people working together in secret to try to gain profits and try to like cheat people. And we were, doing it out in the open, like messing around. Didn't really think it would give us any future profits, just trying to avoid groups. It was really stupid. But that is what put this guy MPHST18's attention on me. And ever since then, anytime something happens, he like calls me out and like brings my name up. So DraftKings was like, why are you like making a mockery of this tournament? Like we're working hard on this. We invited all the best players and you're trying to game the system. And so they booted us out. So fast forward to probably like a month ago, I think it was the PGA Championship. And I've been playing golf, and Dave, make it rain. I'm just going to call him Dave from now on. So he plays football, baseball, and basketball, and I play football, basketball, and golf. So like he's playing more baseball, and I'm playing more golf. And over the summer, we both kind of just like do our own thing. And he hasn't really been playing DraftKings. He just kind of plays FanDuel because it's really easy to make a lineup in 10 minutes and put it in. And DraftKings offered him a bonus because he hasn't played in a while. And I don't think people like that because, high stakes players who do well getting offered bonuses just because they've been inactive. But DraftKings is looking at it as, here's this guy who, if we give him a bonus, he'll play 5 times as much as that in rake. We'll make a bunch of money off him. It was like a week-long expiring bonus. And he didn't want to play baseball on DraftKings. So he was just like, I'm just going to play golf, but you already play golf, so I'm just going to put Millionaire Maker lineups in because I don't want to like overlap your stuff. So he was playing the Millionaire Maker, and then I was like, well, shit, if he's going to play the Millionaire Maker, I don't want to miss out on a score. So I'm going to play the Millionaire Maker. And we both played the Millionaire Maker, and we're in a bunch of group chats like that discuss strategy, and people were talking about Millionaire Maker strategy, and somebody said that leaving money on the table to try to have a unique lineup is a really good idea. Which I was like, wow, that's brilliant because like if you spend $50K on a really good lineup and you have like 10 overlaps and you end up tying for the million, your EV is shot. So I was just like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And Dave was like, yeah, I'll burn 200 or 300. And then I was like, shit, I guess I'll burn more than that. And we had the same projections, so it ended up being completely separate lineups. And within an hour of the tournament starting, this little detective, MPHST18, I can't even really badmouth him because he is capable of doing like finding out stuff and investigating. But it's clear he has like a vendetta against me because within an hour of the tournament starting, he's posting about how we don't have any overlap in our lineups and like a breakdown of our players. And we had different players because, we used we used the same projections. And DraftKings called us about it. They like locked our accounts for a day because there were these public accusations. And apparently a week before, somebody did the exact same thing, but worse. What they did was 2 guys got together, and apparently they like share action, and instead of like one person making 150 lineups and the other person making 150 lineups and just having your own action, they made 300 lineups together. Because they had like, you know, all the same salaries and all the same players used. So they just made 300 lineups together and entered them, and they ended up winning the Millionaire Maker. And I had no idea this happened because I wasn't really paying attention to Roto-Grinders before that. And then somebody told me I was on it, and I was like, what for? And I find out, I'm like, and then I started reading about other thread, and I'm like, oh shit, these guys are getting in trouble for it now. So DraftKings called us, and we told them exactly what happened. They're like, oh, okay. I mean, you guys don't really play GPPs ever. You just kind of did this. And they immediately unlocked our accounts, but people aren't happy. And it's understandable, you know. I mean, it's like having a tiny bit of information on the field does affect things. But it was like one of those things where nobody really like even considers it wrong. And we're just not really GPP players. We're not really going to play the Millionaire Maker over the NFL. So we're just going to avoid doing stuff like that. But DraftKings came out with community guidelines. Did you see that?
I haven't seen those.
Yeah, they changed a bunch of rules. Like they talked about how people who work together can buy pieces of each other and enter a tournament, or they can like swap percentages, but they can't say something like, I'm going to take this guy and this guy, and then the other person decides he'll take somebody different. So it was really vague, like what it sounded like lip service, but everything's super vague. They're really going to need some extremely concrete rules if they're going to try to enforce these.
Well, the big thing is how can they possibly enforce this?
I don't know.
It's like it's an unenforceable thing because people know, like, okay, like, you know, you and Dave are working together, but
right.
You don't know who else is working together. It's like it's
right. That's the other thing that kind of pisses me off is that like we're super honest about working together, and it seems like we're always the ones who get called out for it, and all these people might do it in secret and try to hide it and use like different names on different sites, and I don't know. It's annoying to try to be above board and be honest and get called out for stuff. But yeah, it's unenforceable stuff. Like, what happens if we're discussing plays and like we're like, I like this guy and I like this guy, and it just happens organically, or what happens? And then they had stuff in cash games where like they're really trying to fight lineup sellers, which is good. You know, like guys who tout on Twitter and sell lineups, and then like. Yeah, so for cash games, if you end up in a 50-50, there might be like 20 guys with the same lineup, and they're all buying it from one person.
What a sick racket that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's all super sketchy stuff that can happen. DFS has some problems it has to take care of. It's not like poker.
I mean, poker's got its own issues right now, man, especially online.
It does, but like if Ben 86 and you are best friends, and you're the two best players in the world. Like Ben 86 can play his 6 tables and you can play your 6 tables, and then like people don't have to be in games with you. Mm-hmm. But DFS, you know, you can just enter every contest on the site, and when you start selling those lineups, and then everybody can enter all these contests, it's just there's too much scalability. I think like people have been talking about it lately, having like entry limits, or saying like high stakes players can't play low stakes, or trying to come up with solutions. I don't really like the high stakes players can't play low stakes. I just think they need super strict entry limits. Like FanDuel and DraftKings each have half the picture together, but neither of them put it together. Like FanDuel has the entry limits at the low stakes, and then DraftKings has like matchup blocker, so you can block people head to head. But for some reason, neither of them did both. And if they did both, it would be a really good start.
Yeah, I think Sahil proposed yesterday that something about once you reach a certain level of profitability or success or skill, that you're something about maybe not allowed to play $10 contests and under.
Yeah, I mean, it gets iffy because what happens if like
you gotta rebuild?
What if I've had a good season and then I take a shot in the 5th week and I lose and I have to rebuild?
Right.
Or,
yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking.
What if games get tougher and I haven't had a bad week and I just decide to move down? Yeah. So I really like the idea of just like a limit on the number of contests you can enter. I mean, it would hurt certain people for sure, but I think it's overall a good thing. And the sites have been slowly limiting the number of entries you can have in a single contest. So I think it used to be 3%. Maybe it's gone down since then. But even 3% is high. But I don't know, man. The sites are in this weird, tricky position where they spent all this money on advertising and then they got hit with all the legal stuff. So now they're in the hole and they have to make the money back.
Oh, yeah.
So like they need the rake to be high. Like you can't ask them to lower the rake when they've been fighting legal battles for the community for forever. And they're in the hole and like they're running these sites that aren't making money right now. So they need the rake to be high. They need the entry limits to be high so that like players can enter every contest they want. I don't know. It's weird because, like, you know, in poker, the most valuable person to a site is like the guy who deposits the most, right? Because he's, you know, keeping games running and bringing money into the ecosystem. And in DFS, it's kind of like that. Like the people who deposit are very important, but Sahil is the most important player on the site. Like Sahil is playing more buy-ins than like I'm probably like the 15, 20th biggest grinder. And if you add like 15 or 20 of me together, we're still less than Sahil. So like he's just so much more important than anybody on the site. So like keeping him churning out rake is, for the time being, is necessary. So I don't really know what the sites can do. Like they have to change, but they can't change because they're not making enough money to change.
That's a really good point. Especially, I think I just read there was the article that happened on ESPN, and then there was I read something. I think it was on Fortune magazine. I think something else wrote.
Forbes.
It might have been Forbes or Fortune, where they sort of countered that article, and they talked about how DraftKings or one of the sites recently got more funding. So, right. I mean, listen, if they're getting, you got to imagine, like even with I believe I did read the total amount of money they made last year according to the rake, but. Oof, as you mentioned, legal battles and all that stuff added up. I mean, they've got to be, with the first round, all the other funding that they have, they've got to be pretty. Yeah, it's a weird situation. They can't, in theory, in a perfect world, maybe they would just limit the number of entries and, you know, make it more fair or whatever. But
they can't.
Yeah.
No, like that ESPN article, like there were parts of it that I really liked. Like I really liked hearing the story of, you know, like DraftKings doing things differently to try to out battle FanDuel and FanDuel having to keep up in the advertising. And some of the story was really good, but I mean, just because it was like at a ridiculous, like inflated high and it's not there anymore doesn't mean it's like imploding. It's still bigger than it was 2 years ago. So
yeah, I was saying yesterday that, I mean, they pick like MLB season to bring this out and right before NFL starts. Once the NFL starts, I feel like it's going to be, you know, it'll be booming again. It's just like you want to play. Like, why wouldn't people want to play? Like, this just makes watching the game so much more fun. Right. Being able to do these DFS, like this just makes things so much more fun. And I'm sure they're still going to be having advertising this year during the games, just not to the ridiculous extreme it was last year where it was everywhere 24 hours a day on like all the fucking channels.
Right, and they kind of have to change the way they advertise because they're making it sound like it's like they're trying to portray it as a game of skill and at the same time portray it as like anybody can win $1 million.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess is true. Like anybody can win the big tournament and it is a game of skill, but that's a bit of a contradiction. And they just kind of have to they have to market it as fun. And like you every game matters and every second of every game matters and it'll make sports more fun to watch and you can get better and become a winning player and there is skill involved. Like they just have to market it differently because right now it's been pretty disingenuous.
Yeah, you think about poker's marketing, kind of what poker did. I feel like they didn't really sell it to that extreme. Like it's more like come learn, chat, play with the pros on Full Tilt and then Poker Stars. It wasn't really like, hey, you can win a fucking $7.5 million at the main event. It was more like you can win a tournament or you can win something, but it was never really this sold as this mass stream on the American marketing from what I remember.
Right. Well, it's also hard to market the same way as poker. So like poker was a lot about the personalities, right? So they're building up like Negreanu and Ivy and all the big names. And in DFS, you can't really like show the big names like sitting there like studying a model, like making his lineup. Like in his room alone, not interacting with other people.
Well, I guess they did
that
last. Well, I guess they did it last year with the DraftKings when they got Wiggins in the fucking red T-shirt, and you got the guys, the bros, as they put it.
Right.
So I mean, I don't understand why they can't, because poker's even esports to some extent. They've taken these personalities, and the personalities is sort of what sells things. You can be like this guy, be like that guy, or look up to this guy or admire that guy.
So but the difference is, so like esports, like I don't really play Dota or League of Legends, but I can go watch a Dota or League of Legends game and be like, wow, those guys are really good. I could watch a Counter-Strike game and be like, holy shit, he just got a headshot with a sniper rifle from, across the screen. And never playing Counter-Strike and know that guy's good. Whereas if they show a DFS live final, they're like, why am I watching this guy watching sports? I just want to watch sports. So it's interesting showing the behind-the-scenes process, but it's not like interactive, like you can't be like, oh, I'm going to play Counter-Strike because that game looks really cool. It's going to be like, yeah, I mean, I want to play fantasy sports myself, but I don't want to watch other people play fantasy sports, or I don't want to watch other people watch sports.
Now, I got to tell you, Ryan, I would think that might be true, but I swear to fucking God, with this YouTube, these guys, they watch people play. They don't play the games. They watch you play the game.
Oh, right. No. Because the games are really exciting. Like,
they watch you do this. It's weird. People love to watch other people do things.
No, it's interesting, especially because I played StarCraft. Like before poker, I was in StarCraft, and then when StarCraft 2 came out, it was way bigger with Twitch, and I found myself having more fun watching like guys who I was learning from play than playing myself, because it was frustrating, like to watch a strategy and then try to replicate it and not have, the finger dexterity to pull off the same strategies that people I was watching pull off. Mm-hmm. So it became like, oh, let's watch how this guy does today, or watch how this girl does today, and watch, oh, here's a big tournament. Let's see how the players I've been following do. And the games are really exciting. Like, I don't know. I actually really enjoy watching like Twitch streams, even of games I don't know anything about.
Listen, people watch people draw on Twitch. Okay, they're watching people draw. Like, you'd be so. I don't know what happened. Like when this became such this. I mean, I guess people have always been voyeurs to some extent, but it seems like now, like people don't want to. Like, I really think they would like watching like you or Sahil or you guys like sweat a heads up match. For instance, if there was some way to like make it into a show, make it into something. All right, you have these guys playing heads up. Maybe the two guys agree. You can show the match. You can show us sweating it. You can we'll talk about why we picked one guy. Something like that. It seems like there could be something where you could sell the personalities more. Even the personalities were these quiet guys, so they're not necessarily A.E. Jones. A.E. Jones fucking, A.E. Jones, lot being, he's a personality, man. That's like a guy right there. That's someone that, you could, whether people are going to like him on like a mainstream standpoint, maybe not, but he's certainly like a personality that you guys have in DFS that could be something, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. But one other issue is, so in poker you can, like you have to put the stream on delay so that people don't like see what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So you put it on like a 15-minute delay. No hands ever get overlapped with players on the table. They'll know what you had eventually and know how you're playing, but they don't know what you have in any given hand. But in DFS, like, DFS is basically like, imagine the poker analogy would be like you have 3 hours to prepare for one hand. Like, you have to like make the perfect GTO breakdown on each street of how you're going to play this hand. And you have forever to do it. So like, if you show that 3 hours later, the games are on, people don't want to watch it. If you show it while it's going on, people have your like insight and plays, and they can just play the same lineup. So then you're basically a lineup seller.
Yeah, I guess so. Like it would. Yeah,
there's weird things they have to overcome, but it would be kind of fun to like I would love to watch, like back in the day when like Sahil and Kandia were playing. I would love to have like a live stream on each of them and be like, oh yeah, I guess I'm drawing dead now. I was like,
right. That'd be fun. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that'd be fun. Like when Asani battles whoever he battles this year, he's always going to battle somebody.
Oh yeah,
he would like the camera be fucking Asani. He'd love that stuff, man. That would and now you can show these sort of shows, or you can show them on. I don't know, man. I gotta bring this up to the one of the companies that be. I during this week I have some friends at FanDuel, and I probably know people at probably know people at DraftKings as well too. So maybe I should like. They gotta be thinking about these ideas. Like personalities is what sells so many different things. I can't think of any industry where personalities aren't driving something positive for the product.
I would watch a live stream of Asani sweating.
I would watch Asani just watching the game himself. Like that'd be fun, man. Yeah. Like think about it. Okay, think about if you're a DFS fan and you get to see one of the best players just like observing the act, like talking about it, being like, "Oh fuck, I shouldn't have done." You know, just all. I don't know. I feel like that'd be. I don't. Maybe that's been done. Wasn't there those millionaire sweats? Remember, like on Monday nights they do something like that where whoever's high up, they'll call them up and those guys will watch.
I remember when Al Zeidenfeld.
Yeah, I've seen that name.
Al Smizzle. I think going into Monday night, it was like him and another guy were the only ones with a chance to win. One of the first millionaire makers. It might have been like a 1,500 buy-in or something. And they both happened to live in LA, so like a camera crew came out and sweated with them while they're watching the games, and that's really cool because then they're in a position where like one of them is going to win $1 million, and the way the payouts were, like one of them was going to win way less. I don't know maybe it was like 350,000 or something, which is pretty good for DFS standards actually. Like some of these are $1 million and then 100K. Which it's ridiculously top heavy, but yeah, like those situations are pretty good. Watching like a guy with all of it on the line in one game, and the live finals they work out pretty well because there's so many people in the room, and you can kind of see it like channeling down to like a couple players who have a chance, and then you focus on those guys, and they're super excited.
We're live on YouTube. I'm looking at some of the comments.
The chat's going crazy.
I think someone said my hair. I assume they're not talking about your hair. Your hair's not looking super gay.
Yeah, it never changes.
Yeah, I got the headband in from the basketball workout. So apparently, my beautiful hair. They're alleging I look like a gay person with the hair like this. So obviously we're bringing on a quality chat today. So yeah, I'm doing this. The DFS, I feel like the DFS week's like a fun idea to do because there's a lot of poker players who play DFS, but obviously like my people that listen to this are mainly poker players. So it's kind of like I'm not sure. I wonder how much crossover is actually going to come from pure DFS guys that tune in and want to know more about the play. Like I'm not sure. Like I would have thought people would be like pretty interested in learning more about the players, but do you think that's true, or do you think they just want more strat?
Well, I mean, you're going to have strat later in the week. I mean, Evan Silva's the king, right? And then Adam Levitan. So Friday, Saturday is going to be all strat, probably. Or all, like, breakdowns or whatever you guys want to talk about. Because those guys, like, live and breathe football and know everything about everything. Whereas, like, the first couple guys this week are all, like, the analytics side where they know way more about football than us. We're just analyzing data.
Do you think fans, that's what DFS players and fans, they want more of the strat stuff? Like they don't necessarily because I guess maybe they don't necessarily care about the players as much, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they do. Maybe they care about like hearing the stories of how people got better or like advice, or they probably want to hear both sides. So like you have a good mixture this week. Dog's angry. You have a good mixture. So like people can tune in, hear stories. They can tune in, hear advice. They can tune in, hear like how Evan Silva finds out everything, like how he just knows everything that happens in the NFL. I don't know.
I want to know that too, right? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I know a little bit about Evan, but I don't know. I talked to him a little bit, but I know he's from the Chirac, and we used to live close to each other, so that's what I know about him.
I know that like in April he's tweeting about football stuff, and I'm like, bro, you got 5 months, like. He lives this shit. This is his life.
What are you gonna be playing this year, Ryan? Are you gonna be playing a 10Ks? Are you playing 5K? What are you?
Not in football. In football, you have enough action to not play the super big stakes and still get plenty down. Plus, it's way easier for me in football to play a lot of sites because you have days in advance to register and set lineups and. At the end, there's not going to be that much injury news that changes everything. In basketball, I'm kind of forced to play 5 and 10Ks because you can't play as many sites because there's so much late news every day. So I'll play a lot bigger per day in basketball than I would in football. But football you can end up playing all these other things. So I'm not gonna end up playing like huge unless things went really well at the beginning of the season and I saw an edge somewhere. But football is hard to have an edge. I mean, like last year, I thought I had a huge edge on Condia in football. I thought he was making big mistakes, and every week it was like he was psychic. Like it was like he made these mathematical errors that ended up like he always knew. I don't understand how he just always knew. Like how who would go off when mathematically his team would give up like 8 to 10 points and he would still crush. I don't know. So like football, I don't even know if math is better than just like the pure field players. And I don't even know how he could be a pure field player because I watched footage of him. Like, do you know much about Condia?
I think that he's an Asian kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I know. I think I heard of a video about him, like a Lamborghini or Ferrari or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's got both. He's got a lot of cars. He was the king for like 3 years. But yeah, he I don't know. He seems like he doesn't really sweat the game. So like I don't know how he just knows what's going to happen when he's not watching the game. He's just kind of like he does all the work beforehand, and then he like goes off to the gym, and he comes back and he counts his money.
My kind of guy.
Yeah,
I like this guy.
I don't know, but like he wasn't a math-based player. So like I mean, me and Sahil have a similar approach in that manner that we might not necessarily watch every game as religiously as like Evan Silver, Adam Levitan. Mm-hmm. Still watching the games in the background and making sure things are right, but it's more of a math-based approach whereas Condia was just kind of like pure feel and was making it work. And that's why like Sahil was an interesting interview to me, but like I would love to hear Condia's side of things, like how he does it, and because it's such a different perspective, and like I don't know how he pulled it off.
Was he still playing a bunch of the high stakes, and is he still pretty active?
Yeah, he crushed last football season, so he's gonna play massive on every site. I don't think he'll play basketball anymore because it's hard to be a field player in basketball. Basketball is like the poker equivalent of heads up sit and goes. Like imagine trying to be a good heads up sit and go player without knowing like every range perfectly. Mm-hmm. You really have to know them all, like rigorously to be a top player. Whereas football is more like, I don't know, it's like heads up PLO, where like you can get in there and gamble and like be really aggressive. you got excited.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed playing NBA more last year when I played, because I was playing I got a little carried away, let's put it like that. But it just took way too much time from poker, and I was like, I need to stop this. And I definitely blasted a lot of money on those qualifiers. Those things, I think like Touche told me, like, dude, don't play qualifiers. They're like they're crack cocaine essentially.
Yeah, I got super addicted. Top heavy, super raked. Like they have to be raked because the site needs to like pay for the live final.
Yeah,
because the live finals are really fun. Like I only went to one, but I don't know, man. Like the food is great, the venue's great. Like there's TVs everywhere. It's insane. Like they have sped up. So the rake needs to be really high to pay for all that. But then if the rake's high and it's top heavy, like most people are just dumping money playing them. So I don't know. I'm not like a fame seeker in DFS anymore. I just kind of want to chill and grind. And
were you ever like a fame? You weren't really like a fame seeker in poker, were you? I mean, you were sponsored by Full Tilt. You were a Red Pro, and I don't feel like you were one of those kind of guys that was seeking out notoriety or getting well known or anything like that.
No, but in DFS, like if you want to be like sponsored, it's really hard to get sponsored by us. I don't think anybody is anymore. But if you want to be like famous, you have to be at the live finals trying to win stuff. And I don't know. I'm not going to do that just because to get my name out there and be thought of as I don't have any desire to be thought of as the best. And I shouldn't be. Like I don't work as hard as Sahil does. So guys like him who like devote their lives to it should.
Yeah.
Dude, his I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he does it. Like I do know how he does it, but I don't know how he does it. Like,
what do you mean? Does what? Just spend all his time on it?
Yeah, like he plays every sport, and he's pretty good at all of them, and he's pretty good at GPPs, and he's pretty good at cash, and he's just very good at everything, and everything takes time. Like it's hard to be good at both cash and GPPs in multiple sports and play them every day all year while also playing like the biggest stakes possible. I don't know. It's crazy to me. Like,
As he mentioned, he's learning at the highest stakes when he plays a new game. I was like, you use
Yeah.
your way in? He's like, nah, fuck it. Let's just talk.
yeah, I
I'm
don't
in,
know.
man. I love his approach, man. That's, yeah.
Yeah. I
I
don't
guess,
know. I don't know how he does it. I wish I had that. Like, I don't have any degen in me at all. I don't any gamble. Like, I wish I had more. I just kind of do it because I like figuring out games, and it's fun, and it's profitable. But like, I'm not competitive about it, and I'm not like aggressive with it.
do you feel like you got really lucky to kind of find DFS at the time you did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I should have been in it a year before, but it definitely suits me better than poker did. Like poker, I always tell people like the most important things to being a good poker player or like being a very great poker player are it's like this contradictory set of things. You need to be like extremely competitive, and you also need to be like not stubborn and like a good loser and like willing to like analyze your mistakes and not get hung up on stuff and not get tilted. So it's like it's really hard to be both extremely competitive and like extremely like, you know, unstubborn and willing to adapt and change. Kind of like Negreanu or Mercier or like all these guys are like they're bulldogs, but they're also like open-minded and I don't know.
Two of very minimal examples of people that you could use, because a lot of people,
Right.
like that's why they're not playing poker anymore, because they're so stubborn. Their ego got the best of them to the point where instead of putting in the work again, like saying, "Hey, I don't know this. I can't do this." They never could or never did, and they don't play anymore. That's pretty much why.
Right. But you also need to be super competitive and like some people are willing to learn from mistakes, but they're not competitive, and other people are competitive but not willing to. So like
I don't know.
It's hard balance, man. It's a tough balance.
I was talking with someone. I've never really been competitive at poker, and I just do it because of like fun. Like I just like I found the challenge really enjoyable to try to get to the highest stakes playing PLO. Like it was like the money wasn't even a thing. Even when I had, I was running it up, I just wanted to get to $1 million because I thought it'd be fun. Like I didn't necessarily like. The money's cool and like you want to have a lot of money, but it was just more of the fun challenge behind it than like the act of beating people up or taking money from someone. I remember someone who was I talking? What's that said that? Viffer said that. Yeah, Viffer on the podcast said, was it Viffer? He really liked taking money from people.
Well, that's competitive, like
yeah, but I was like, right. I've never really. Oh no, it wasn't Viffer. Never mind. No, I'm sorry, it was somebody else. I was like, I never really liked that. I never thought about that. And when someone said that to me, I never thought about that aspect. Like, do I really like taking money? Not really. Like, I don't really want to like, fuck you, I'm going to take your money, guy. I never felt that way about it. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. Even when I play ball, I'm not really competitive at basketball.
Yeah, but like when you play a session, are you like watching movies and just kind of like robotically playing? Or are you like trying to actively like break down your table? And
I think a lot. A PLO. I can't like talk. I can't even watch. I can't even, well, except porn sometimes. Shout out to porn. But I can't like, yeah, I'm honed in. I'm like thinking about so many different things when I'm playing PLO now. So.
Well, I was going to say before the pod, we were talking about the porn thing. And it actually, I get it. Because like, all right, did you ever watch Entourage?
Yeah.
There was this one like mini scene where Turtle was talking about like porn to Vince. And he's like, you know how you're watching a porn and you're about to blow your load and then like they cut in on the guy's balls and it's ruined for you? Well, like he's like, well, we got multi-camera angles, so you can always see the girl. Well, like in poker and porn, like if you're watching porn and it cuts to a part of scene you don't want to watch, you just go back to the poker table. Like you got an escape on both sides. If nothing's happening on the poker table, you can watch the porn. If nothing's happening in the porn that you like, you can.
Ryan, you sound like an avid porn watcher while you used to play poker, my friend.
Well.
I'm telling you, that shit used to de-tilt me. I would be 24 table in PLO. I'd be a little bit on tilt and put on some porn. Calm me down. Get me off tilt. Get me refocused.
Yeah, I mean, it takes your mind.
Listen, you got a girlfriend now. You ain't watching porn. Yeah. I understand that, right? You and your girlfriend still together?
Yeah.
Shout out to her, man.
So I didn't see your podcast with Fedor where you made your bet.
Mm-hmm.
But
no.
So is your bet no, but like I don't like if you have a girlfriend you don't have to, but for your bet, if you don't have a girlfriend, you have to consistently, find.
Listen, Ryan, believe it or not, not hard to do. Man, I can't imagine being out.
Chicago, Philly, I mean,
I can't imagine being out where you live, man, in Irvine. Fuck, man. That's like you're like apartment complex by itself. That sick farmers market. I would just grind the farmers market. That farmers market outside your place is pretty sweet. That's why I love California, man. You're right by the ocean out there. You get these random pop up things. There's a lot of Asian people. Shout out to Asians, obviously. Beautiful weather. God, it's so. Did you grow up in Irvine? How'd you end up in Irvine?
I grew up in New Jersey. Got really bored of New Jersey after, like, I was traveling around for poker, and I just kind of stayed with my parents, and then I stopped traveling around. And I was at my parents' house for maybe an extra year or so, and eventually, I mean, it was just like, I got to get out of here, and because it was like a boring suburb where there was nothing going on. Like, all my friends were either in New York or Hoboken, and I was like, I'll find somewhere better to live. And luckily, I had a lot of friends in Arizona, so I bounced out there, and then Arizona, California was a much easier transition.
How'd you end up in Irvine? Where you live in that apartment complex now, though?
So like when I first moved out to California, I had like 3 requirements. I wanted gym, laundry, and air conditioning. So like some of the complexes just like didn't have one of the 3. Like, some wouldn't have laundry, and you'd have to go to like a laundry mat in the complex or like a public one.
No,
air conditioning.
No, none of that. Hell no.
No, some don't have air conditioning. It gets hot as shit. And then some, like, there's no gym, and you have to join a place. And like, I was like, I have my interests, so I don't want to join an extra gym, like on top of a climbing gym or on top of a jiu-jitsu gym. So I didn't want an extra gym. So just those 3 requirements were like really limited your options. And then there's a bunch of communities like this in Irvine, and this is the one I picked.
Yeah, there's a ton of. I used to live in a similar place, kind of how you live in San Diego, and they're all over the place where they're super nice, luxurious inside. The amenities are really sweet.
You were in a high rise, right? Or
that was in Vancouver.
Oh.
In San Diego, I lived in like a similar kind of little mini world sort of thing. It's kind of your place is like its own world. Your place is huge, man. I never like that place is big there. So.
Yeah, and then you went to McLean's house, right?
Yeah, I was at McLean's.
Yeah, their place is even bigger. Like, it's they've
got 6 gyms and like they've got a full court basketball hoop. I was playing all the time out there.
It's like legit city.
Yeah, Irvine's sick, man. That's like a crazy place. It seems like though, like you don't leave much. You don't really go. You just kind of stay in Irvine. You don't really go to the ocean, Costa Mesa. You just kind of stay in Irvine and just hang out there.
Yeah, you can. I mean, sometimes you go down to Newport or Costa Mesa. Sometimes you go down to Laguna, but most nights you end up staying in Irvine. Like, there's stuff to do local, and then like Costa Mesa is 15 minutes. Like, you can go to bars down there. You can go down the beach, either Newport or Laguna. You can go up to Huntington.
Why is my thing making noise? Hold on a second. I need to turn this fucking sound off here. I don't know why. Never used Skype during the podcast before, so I'm trying this. I'm still getting used to the whole.
Oh, what do you usually use?
I usually use Google Hangout.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever, or second time I think I might have tried it with Charlie Carroll too. So this is the third time I've used this setup, and my camera's all, I don't even know what's happening with this thing. Let me get some shout outs, man. We got my buddy James in the chat. James Rosenthal, what's up, Poppy? He said, is Daut still into jiu-jitsu? I'm assuming you are.
I haven't been for the past year and a half, really. So I got my blue belt about 2.5 years ago, and then like immediately, like, I was getting super into it and like loving it, and I had like a weird knee tweak where I ended up taking a couple months off, and then just never really got back on track. And like, I went off and on for the next year, and I just haven't been in the last year and a half.
You started climbing a lot, right? Because we talked about
I love climbing.
Climbing's fun. Are you bouldering, or are you rope?
Bouldering.
Yeah.
All bouldering. It's so, like, it's not. I'm not the best at it. Like, it's not tailored for my athletic. Well, I don't have any athletic gifts, but like the things I'm better at athletically, are not right for bouldering. But it's so much fun. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not competitive. Like, I don't like to play friends in poker. I don't like to like try to outwork people. And climbing, you go there and everybody wants everybody to succeed. Mm-hmm. Like, you're happy when somebody else does something. Like, if I brought you in there. So I just did my first V5, but like I can't even do most V4 still. But like, if I brought you in there and in a week you were doing like V6s, I would be happy for you. I wouldn't be like upset, or I wouldn't have like Schadenfreude. Whereas in poker, when like somebody starts winning, you like, even if they're your friend, you hate them. Like, you're like, why are you winning instead of me? Or why is all these good things happening to you instead of me? DFS is kind of the same way too. Like, I don't like feeling
this camera
envious of people. What's happening with your YouTube?
My camera's just like tripping. I don't know.
I hear it. I hear the little.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing, camera? I don't know what's happening here. No, yeah, I think I don't think I don't know if I was ever like that in poker. I was thinking about this a lot, and it seems like the people who have like the losing players or break-even players or like the non-consistent winners usually have that mentality where they're upset when someone else wins. And I tend to get like pretty excited when my friends win, or even like people. Like I never really dislike somebody for because they win or because they have success at something. And I think I may have maybe before something like that, especially if I felt I was working harder than someone and they weren't working as hard as me.
Well, especially if you played tournaments too. Like tournament players, like
listen,
they're angry at each other.
They're angry. I don't blame them. Yeah. I don't consider you a tournament player. Are you a tournament player? I don't really. I consider you a cash game guy still. That's like, yeah, you're a cash game guy at DFS
a long
too.
Period of time where like, so like after PCA, even like I didn't really play that many tournaments, even online. But like when I would never win, and I'd watch all these other guys win that like I thought were making mistakes, and be like, what? Why am I so unlucky? I hate them, or like, I don't know. You just get angry at it, or like. I don't know. It's just it's a natural human reaction, and I don't like having it. I don't like feeling like that. And it's easier in cash games to avoid it because, it's more of a meritocracy where the players who are working harder and playing better are the ones succeeding. So like you can respect that. Like it's not like this guy just got lucky to get there. It's like I respect his game.
Funny you say that. I was just talking with someone before this, and I was talking about how. Like I have a lot of respect for a lot of cash game poker players because I know how much they work and how much they put into their game to get better and how much they grind and the way they go upon it. But when it comes to like tournament players, I talk with these guys. Okay, it's hard to have a lot of respect for their approach to the game. Like they approach their mindsets are just so weak, very weak mindseted, very woe is me, complaining to the world. I don't know if it's like this. It's not like it's not small. It's a big sample of people that I've met, especially when you interact with them in Vegas or you interact with them on the tournament stops or when you get someone on the podcast, man, you can tell that they're just, I don't know. Like, what do you think makes tournament players? I think what makes the tournament guys wired differently is because you don't really need to get good at poker. You need to get good at getting that big score. You need to get good at getting people to buy your action. You don't actually have to get good. You can get good at these other things that aren't really good at the game. And I feel like people are less incentivized to work harder at their game because they don't see it as a have to become successful.
I think there's also a lot of survivorship bias where guys who have done well and continue to do well end up being the ones working harder, and the guys who were unlucky in the beginning just develop a negative mindset and are screwed from the start. So like if they lived in a different universe where they were the ones who got lucky, they would have succeeded. And there's a lot of people who could have been poker players that ended up not being successful poker players just because of how unlucky they were at the beginning of their careers or just didn't have the right things fall their way. So it's a hard, and like dealing with downswings and trying to like constantly work hard while like, I've lost money the last 3 months and I'm expected to just like work on my game while like keeping a positive mindset, and like it's a hard thing to balance. Like I completely understand it, but yeah, like I mean they've gotten a lot better at poker theory and like thinking like strong elite poker players, but the top cash game guys are just like, I mean, do you know anything about OTB Red Baron or like is anybody, you got to get him on the pod.
I was just chatting with him 2 days ago. So
yeah, like you got to get, because like I want to know because I mean, there's this like unknown kid who has just consistently beaten games far better than anybody else for years, and like nobody knows his process.
He started.
I don't know if he's going to be like a Ben 86 where he's just like, I put 40 hours in a week in off the table on top of every hour I play, and I just know I need to work this hard with the skill I have. I don't know. So I want to know.
He made an epic thread on 2+2 before when he was playing 500 Zoom. He made a thread saying like, I'm going to get to the crush 500 Zoom and beyond, and then he went to crush 500 Zoom and beyond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we've been talking. I remember I messaged him 2 years ago to do a podcast, and then he messaged me on Facebook the other day and about potentially doing a podcast now, but he's like maybe another 1 or 2 years. So I'm assuming he's more of a quiet, kind of like quiet guy, and
Yeah.
he's not, you know, he's
So
not.
he's got a dream machine then. He's got a dream machine. He doesn't want to let anybody know about it. He wants to let it run its course.
I mean, listen, if you're like literally the top fucking guy at 6 max right now,
Yeah. It's insane.
yeah. I mean, you know, I feel like he maybe feels like he doesn't want to give any, like, if he gives a little bit away to some of these Russian guys or the Belarusian guys,
Oh yeah.
that, like, that
Doesn't
could be,
want to get
yeah, that could, like, make or breaks. Maybe they're, like, maybe he's just doing something or thinking something in some type of way.
Right.
And if people knew that, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I can definitely understand his, you know, if that's one of the reasons why I can understand his concern to want to be able to potentially give away information or strategy.
Yeah, so going back to cash game player thing, it's like you start working harder and playing better and you immediately see the results. Whereas in tournaments you don't get
Yeah.
work equals reward kind of Pavlov's dog thing built in.
That's true. That's a good point.
Like I don't know, maybe cash game players, they just immediately see the results of their hard work and continue working harder, whereas tournament players are like trying different things. They're like you can't exactly tell what strategy is the best throughout a tournament. You see some guy winning with it, then you tinker that way. You're more basing things on empirical evidence and the empirical evidence is all super noisy. So I don't know. It's hard being a tournament player.
That's a really good point. It's definitely hard, especially when you feel like you're making the right plays, but the sample size is so small from these plays.
Yeah.
Like the spots, the actual sample size for the specific spots is so tiny.
Right.
So you don't really know if it's variance, if you're making the right play. It's very hard to gauge. That's actually a really good point.
And nowadays I don't really play that much poker anymore, but when I do, it's never tournaments. But apparently super or like progressive super knockouts have taken over.
I know what those are, so I'm gonna.
So you know what a knockout is, right? When like you knock somebody out, you get a part
like
of their body.
Yeah, I've seen something like that. Yeah,
But the progressive ones is like when you knock somebody out, now that goes to your like bounty pot. So every time you knock somebody out, their bounty goes to your bounty pot, and they get to keep half. So like if somebody has knocked out 10 people, and then you knock him out, it goes to your pot. And then if you fight somebody who has a big pot, then they like merge together. So like there's a lot more math involved in these that people don't really have solved, because trying to mix that in with tournament life as well is super tricky. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, the strategies are all unclear, like what people should be doing. So people try to figure it out mathematically, but they really can't simulate a tournament. So they just kind of like tinker endlessly, and they don't really know what to do. And I don't know, being a tournament player is tough. Whereas cash game, it's like, I'm going to figure out what the best play is, and that's the best play.
So what, you think being a cash game player is easy?
No,
Okay.
No. I think it requires a ton of work, but there is a more direct path to finding out like optimal solutions.
Essentially, that's true.
Right. So like the path is clear, but it requires like immense amounts of work to get there. But in tournaments, it's like the path is all noisy and shaded, and you can't really tell where you're going. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason why you get that feeling when you talk to tournament players, and it's not really their fault, I don't think.
I ain't never repeating that shit again in my life. I'm going with my read. But no, that's a good point. Yeah, especially at live tournaments, for example. There's not much live tournament strategy that's really out there. Most of the tournament stuff is geared towards online poker players, and as we know, live and online do play differently.
Yeah.
So the crossover, yeah.
Right. Like I would imagine if somebody had access to like every tournament everybody plays and did, like a search on how people do the next 20 tournaments after they have a gigantic score, I would imagine the ROI is massive. Right? Like, and I would think it's massive over a large sample. And there's something going on in live poker where like these guys just like everybody fears them at the table and they take over, and like I don't think, like, obviously what Fedor is doing requires a lot of run good. Like just the way he won the 100K required insane amounts of run good. But I don't know, where there's smoke there's fire. Like he's clearly doing something very well and probably winning for a reason.
Yeah, I'm sure he's reading a lot more than most. I mean, I think just like reading books and like gaining these skills and abilities in other areas and improving your mindset is going to help you out a ton. And I feel like most poker players, especially the tournament guys that I know, don't do any of those type of things.
Yeah.
They don't really see the value in that in terms of bettering their own approach to the game. And really, when your mind, like if you can improve your mindset, that's going to be very important in dealing with those downswings and coming back from, you know, like all those situations where you're negative, you want to give up, you don't want to keep working hard. Having a stronger mindset kind of helps you overcome those situations.
Right. It's like if you wanted to get really good at basketball and you went in with zero cardio, you can't play that much. If you go in with a lot of cardio, you can work a lot harder. And right. So like you go in with a better mindset, learn to meditate, learn to control your emotions, can work a lot harder.
Maybe that's why these mental game coaches, I mentioned in the chat, Elliot Rose is mind coach. Maybe that's why these mental game coaches are kind of picking up steam because, I mean, are there mental game DFS coaches yet?
No, maybe there should be, but it's different because in DFS, like you have that deadline, right? So you always have this deadline where your stuff's due, and you know you're going to work towards that deadline, and you're going to put in the amount of work you do. Whereas in poker, it's a lot about implementing your strategy in the moment. So like that's what would always hold me back as a poker player. Like there's a reason why as 2012, 2013 came on, I wasn't playing high stakes. It's because other people who may have had inferior strategies to me implemented theirs much better while they were playing. Whereas in DFS, you have hours in advance to implement your strategy, and you don't have to worry about playing well in the moment. So the mental game coaching is huge in poker. Like getting somebody to always play his A+ game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, think of a guy like Doc Sands. Like the guy focuses for hours on end and always plays the hand to the best of his ability. But if he talked with a 1-2 no limit Zoom player, that Zoom player would be able to like break down hands better than him. But this guy's like one of the best players in the world and can focus and do things the other guy can't. So just being able to play in the moment to the best of your ability is huge. Whereas in DFS, it's all preparation beforehand. So yeah, there are things like mentally you can improve with like dealing with downswings and like not feeling entitled and learning to work harder and like learning to analyze the mistakes you made. But I think it's way more important in poker to like be in the moment, like return your focus and all the Zen things.
Let me get some shots here in the chat. Taste of Boy says, Daut, I love you. AJ. AKA Doomer.
Oh, yeah, I know Doomer.
Isn't AJ been hitting the weight room pretty hard? He's like a professional workout guy now, right?
Yeah, Doomer hit the weight room hard. He was like, what, like 5'8", like 115. Then he went to like, got crazy with it.
I'm pretty sure he's like squatting and deadlifting. I don't even know. He's a beast now.
I haven't talked to him in about a year, but he's probably way bigger and way stronger than he was back then, just with the mindset he had.
I'm sure he's been keeping it up. Yeah, I've been grinding pretty hard. I see some Facebook stuff from time to time of him, so
yeah,
seems like he's putting in the work. James said, I tore my rotator cuff first week as a white belt.
Oh,
that's not good.
That sucks. That's rough. Oh, and shoulders. I don't know, man. Maybe like 9 months, I would guess. I don't really even know.
Which part's tearing the rotator cuff part?
I'm not a doctor, but the part that helps your
right here
arm, yeah.
Is it up here? I don't know. I feel like it.
I don't know. That's rough. That's a terrible injury. I'm lucky I never had like any of these terrible shoulder or knee or Achilles injuries to keep you out for years, ruin your life.
That's what I'm saying when I play basketball. I just say, please don't. I just don't want to hurt my leg. I already broke a finger. If someone let me break my leg, don't let me tear something. And
you said you don't jump.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that today, and today I now I don't know what my vert's getting a little bit too high because now I can. I'm pretty sure I can dunk in like a month or two if I really worked at it. So I got to limit myself from jumping because what happens when you jump is there's bigger risk for fucking injury. I mean, that's right. You got these kids you're playing or even guys you're playing. You're not playing professionals, and even when you're playing professionals, you can still get hurt. The higher you jump, the more you're in the air. Especially people close out on you. They're closing out like this. They're running into your body. Like you're falling off balance. It's just, I can tell if I really focus on jumping high, I would definitely hurt myself because it's just so easy to fall off balance and fall on your face or your who
Yeah.
knows, man.
And have you had any problems with like? You said your game is kind of like Sean Livingston, right? Like you like that turnaround jumper and you like to handle the ball. Sean Livingston's that good?
I don't want to make this comparison, but now it's more like my boy Kyrie Irving. Listen, I've been watching a ton of Kyrie Irving. I can emulate Kyrie Irving finishing with I can finish both hands off both feet,
Yeah.
off weird angles,
That's
and
part
my
of his
handle's
game.
really good too.
Yeah. So like that's the thing with like the drives and driving towards the rim is like the change of direction and like little weird foot and ankle and knee movements could leave you injured too, right? You had any problems with that?
Not yet, no.
Not like no sprained ankles or.
I don't think I've ever sprayed my ankle before, ever. I don't think I've really ever been hurt. So I mean, I think I think about it. I think some people just run really well, or they're built a certain type of way, or I mean, I don't really.
Are you super flexible or anything, or are you just?
I wasn't, but I started doing yoga about 2 years ago when I started playing, and now I yoga and foam roll every single day, basically.
That probably helps a lot.
Yeah, I thought so. Especially when I broke my finger, I got really like petrified of breaking something else. So I started doing all these preventative things with my legs and hamstrings and all this type of thing. So, did I not change the Twitter on the thing? How did someone just tell me? I used the same the overlay from yesterday's bot. Somebody, my buddy Jonas sent me this. He's like, use this, so now it has the style Twitter. What a fish! I'm fishing so hard. Oh my god, sorry, Daut.
It sounds good today, though, right? I mean,
yeah, I hope this out, guys. I'm fucking experimenting here. Okay, I apologize to Ryan here, Poppy. So, what are you gonna get married soon, Poppy, or what?
no, I mean we've only been together for like 8 or 9 months. That's a big decision. That's years. I feel like you need like 3 years to really sort out if somebody's right for you, right?
I think so. I'm
covering
up my mistake.
Somebody can hide crazy for a couple years, but you can't hide it for 3.
You think your girlfriend's got any crazy in her?
She might have a little bit.
I think
she would say she's got crazy.
I can see her being a little crazy. I can see her being a little crazy.
What are you trying to say here?
I can see her being a little crazy. She seemed cool, but I can see her being a little crazy. I thought y'all made a good couple, man. I liked it, man. Y'all were cute together. You guys had a good time, man. I was happy to see that you guys were doing well out there. So I need to find myself a California girlfriend, I think, again.
Well, you're in Chicago right now, right?
I'm in the Chirac, yeah.
Well, Chicago's got its fair share.
Poppy, I'm in the suburbs, though, Poppy.
I
try to stay away from trouble.
Your swipe game has to have like a big radius now,
I've never
right?
used Tinder before.
No Tinder, no Bumble, none of these swipe games.
I used to be one of the top ranked Plenty of Fish users back in the day when I was 22, 23, and I had a high win rate on that for sure. But that was back in the day. I don't use online dating stuff. I meet people. I go to everywhere. I meet people. I'm a professional person meter, so I just.
It's true.
Yeah,
You're not like the introverts in poker who they need to swipe. Like I was a swiper. When I was online dating.
You met your girl online, right? Somewhere online?
Yeah. Okay, Cupid.
Dude, those are such good resources to use. I mean, it's like you might, especially as you get older, and if you're playing poker, if you're on DFS, you're really only you're going to the grocery store, you're going to your gym to climb. Right. Really the demographic of people you're meeting is very limited.
Like my friends are married. Like if I go out with them, I'm like fifth wheeling it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, that's true. I mean, I feel like online dating, especially in California, you get a lot of, when you get older, you get a lot of women who have careers. They have jobs. They work a lot. They work 40, 50 hours a week. They do well. They're smart women. They would be good to date in terms of their personality and the way they think. They just can't get out as well, too. So they also turn to online dating. And I mean, it's like.
And it gives you the opportunity to meet a lot of people you wouldn't, even if you were going out to bars, you might not ever run into the person that you might find online. Mm-hmm. Whereas online, you could sift through like hundreds of profiles and maybe find the right person.
What did you do? Did you get Excel out when you were on the grind or what?
I had my model, yeah. What I'm looking for.
I can see Ryan. He's like, Joey, come here, check this model that I'm using for OkCupid right now. And you're like, 6'2", okay.
Oh, you like them tall?
Yeah, I like them tall.
I'm only 6 foot, so I can't hit the 6'2" girls.
Yeah, Yeah. Let's get some of these DFS questions here I got in the chat
All
here.
right.
Who do you think are some of the best DFS guys right now? Some people, I think when it comes to NBA, kid, they put you on the list, man. You and Make It Rain. They feel like you guys are some of the top guys at DFS right now in NBA.
So I think in terms of making head-to-head NBA lineups, we're the second best. I think Empire Maker's the best. Yeah, people don't talk about him.
I didn't know Blake had it like that.
He's an end boss. Yeah. So I think he's the only guy who's a hair better than us at making head-to-head lineups. But that said, all these guys who are pretty close are probably much better tournament players than us. Like A.E. Jones is a phenomenal tournament player, as well as being one of the best cash game players. Like Chipotle Addict and his brother Papa Gates are phenomenal tournament players and really good cash game players. Like there's these other guys who. So like I don't know how you make an overall ranking when like imagine who's that guy who's the heads up sit and go boss that Olivier Bousquet just tweeted out like a couple months ago, him making a video for free. Let me find it. I have it saved somewhere. Lada Lenny.
Oh, Lot Lenny, yeah.
Lenny. Yeah. So like, can you really say that guy's a better no limit hold'em player than Fedor is? Because Fedor can win in 50-100 like deep cash games and can win in live tournaments, can win in online tournaments. Like, how do you say one guy's better than the other? So,
that's true.
So I wouldn't say I'm one of the very best, just because I think there are a bunch of guys like Asani, for instance, is a better cash game player than I'm a tournament player, and he's an unreal tournament player. Like I think he's maybe even one of the best NBA tournament players.
I think he said the same thing on the podcast.
Yeah, but he's still a good cash game player, whereas I don't think I'm a very good tournament player. So yeah, like there's a bunch of guys who I'm probably among the best at NBA heads up, but outside of that, I think there's a bunch of guys who are overall capable of winning more money because they're better tournament players as well as being good cash game players. NFL, I think. So NBA, I think the top cash game players are Empire Maker, me and Make It Rain, A. Jones, Chipotle Brothers. The list is pretty short. NFL, I think it's this guy named Kaj Kyle. I don't know. I don't know how big he plays, but the guy. So like, there's like the analytics side people, and then there's the like feel people, and then there's the people who are kind of hybrids of both. And I feel like he's a hybrid of both, where he just kind of like knows what guy is going to exceed expectation really well while combining it with math. And he seems like he's the best heads up player. Tournament wise, I don't know. I mean, I guess anybody can be good at NFL tournaments. You just make a bunch of lineups and make sure you're on every different team.
Player, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah. So like overall, I think Sahil is a better NBA player than me because he wins more in tournaments, and he's still a very good cash game player. Whereas I'm like more of a specialist in NBA. NFL, I kind of feel the same way. I think there's very few people who are better head-to-head players in NFL than us, but there's a lot of people who make better tournament lineups and like are better at entering tournaments. Like I don't use any scripts or anything. I just kind of do it all by hand, so I can't mass enter well. Like I know how to do it in like a lineup optimizer and then like and then send that over, but I'm not good at like, I don't know, splitting all the lineups really quickly and registering for everything and doing it late with overlay. I don't know how to do it on FanDuel either. I only know how to do it on DraftKings.
It seems there are a lot more programs now, like Sahil's program, for example, the site he has. It seems like there's a lot more programs that like do this for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can set these things. I was when you saw his program yesterday, I'm like, man, that seems pretty crazy. You can set how much you want of this guy and this.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that, but I haven't fully explored it. Like I'm sure he has it all mastered, like what his style is. Because I remember the way he used to play tournaments was like he would just kind of run what I thought was the top 150 optimal lineups, and there was huge overlap. So he would have like his optimal lineup, then you have the second optimal lineup, which was like one player different, and then like the third, which would be like two players different. And so he ended up having like huge overlap between his lineups. So when he did well, he won the site. Like he finished first, third, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. But when he didn't do well, he got like bad day in tournaments.
Right.
So, but now I don't know if he still does that or if he like spreads out his ownership more. Or I don't really know what he does. I don't pay attention to tournaments that much. it's a different skill set. It's not like poker where the tournament players are strictly weaker. It's just a very, very different skill set where like I'm picking players that are expecting to do something, whereas they're picking like players who can do something really, you know. And ownership percentages constantly change things, and it's weird. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to turn one part of your brain off and then become a tournament player while you're making the lineups. Like I just keep stuffing in like the chalk guys, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, when I played, I only played mainly the cash games. I think I just played the qualifiers, and that was sort of.
Well, the qualifiers are even worse because in terms like you're trying to make a lineup that's more likely to finish in first place, right? Whereas like the cash game teams I make are super likely to finish like top 30%, but not that likely to finish like top 5 to 10%, and even less likely to finish top 1%. They're probably more than 1 out of 100 to finish top 1%, but not by much. Whereas like some of these optimal qualifier lineups are terrible in head-to-head, but they might be like 1 out of 45 to finish top 1% because they have all the upside and low ownerships. And if their players go off, nobody has them. I don't know. Qualifier strategy is way different. I don't know.
Wish I knew this before I lost like thousands of dollars last year in NBA playing qualifier. That's why I stopped playing DFS, because I lost so much money in qualifier. I was doing well in cash games for NFL, and for NFL especially, I don't think I actually lost a week for the weeks that I played, but then I just got bored of NFL. I didn't want to watch it anymore, so I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
I feel like I get bored of NFL after week 8. Plus the Bears were doing shitty last year, so I just wasn't very interested in watching it. So
are they going to be good this year? I mean, this is going to sound weird. I've done zero research so far. I don't know anything that's going on in football right now. I don't know nothing.
You don't find that strange, puppy? You got the biggest fucking week coming up here, kid, and you're just like.
I'll prepare quickly. I mean, I got a week next week. I'm gonna go away this weekend, relax, and then I'll come back Monday and work hard.
Doesn't NFL start?
It's
Sunday.
It's like 11 days from now, I think. Maybe there's a Thursday night game. Is there a Thursday night game week 1? This is how I don't pay attention when I'm.
Wait, are you serious right now? Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure week 1's this weekend.
No.
I'm almost positive it is, dude.
It's 11 days.
Is it?
It's gonna be really bad if it is.
I'm pretty sure it's like the 5th or something.
Isn't it November 10th? I thought. 9/11.
Is it?
Yeah. Upcoming 279 hours. We got more than 10 days.
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot then.
I was like, that would be real bad. I mean, I'm going to Lake Havasu. I'm not going to have like even internet access.
Wow, what a genius
I
am.
I'm enough out of the loop that you had me scared. Like, I should know exactly when NFL season starts. But like, I registered for the sites. I just like put up my head-to-heads and registered for 50-50s and haven't really thought about it. Like, haven't been paying attention to preseason.
Yeah, when I was thinking about setting this week up, I wanted it's how much I pay attention to NFL, because I thought when I looked initially that it said, I'm pretty sure I saw it said September 8th. And when I planned it in my head for the dates.
Right, so September 8th is the Thursday. So yeah. I assume the first game is the Thursday night game, but the sites only had, like when I was doing registering, the sites only had the Sunday, Monday slate up. So there was no Thursday night slate to register for yet. Or is there a Thursday night? There's usually a Thursday night game between like the previous Super Bowl champion, right?
Usually, yeah. I've been working on what I've been working on. I haven't really paid attention to my podcast in the past couple weeks. Yeah. So I meant to schedule this the week before NFL Week 1.
Oh. Oh.
What a fucking idiot.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. So the first game is rematch of the Super Bowl Thursday night, September 8th, and then Sunday, September 11th. Week 1.
This fucking guy over here.
But you scared me. Like That's sad that I wasn't like 100% sure. I was only like 95%. I was like, wait a minute.
What a dork I am, dude. How do I?
It almost worked out better though. Like Evan Silva is on Saturday, right? Like if he had NFL the next day, he would be super busy with other podcasts. Like he probably on like 3 or 4 different podcasts where he's, giving advice. So yeah, he's got to be super. I want to see that guy's episode.
It worked out for the best. It worked out for the best.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, Bales was like, I thought we were doing next week. I'm like, why would we do next week? Didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Now it makes more sense why he said that. I was like, what are you talking about? Why would we do it next week, dude? I don't understand. Why would we do it Thursday next week? Do it this week.
Yeah.
And he's like, next week. I'm like, okay, fine. Oh boy, all right. How do you, man, I'm a little like tilted at myself. How do you choose who you like to play? I think that was the question. How do you decide which regulars are worth battling or worth playing against?
So early in NBA last season, I kind of went in the first couple days and I was like, I'm going to sit everyone. Like we kind of had a feeling like early on in the season or like before the season and the end of last season that we were probably the best heads up players. We didn't think Empire Maker wasn't on our radar at that point. So early in the season, we were like, we're going to sit everyone and we're going to see who's worth sitting. So day one, I sat like everybody and there were a couple guys worth sitting and most guys weren't. And I basically just every night was decided by how I did against Kandia because he was worth sitting in NBA. And then when he just decided to stop playing NBA and concentrate on NFL because he was making so much money in NFL, I had to go back to the drawing board and like see who was worth sitting, who was making mistakes. And then I started sitting Sahil all the time. And that became like the night was decided on how I did against Sahil.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
So the first 2 months of the season, I wish I sat him every day. I would have won basically every single day against him. He would have been hurting bad if we sat him early in the season. But when we started sitting him, we were still like really crushing him. And as the season went on, he beat us probably the last couple weeks we played against him. And I quit him because I didn't think there was any edge by the end of the season. I don't know if that was just because of the way, there's more injuries by the end of the season and more like low price players that are now getting showcased and are must plays. And there's just it's not possible to beat the other top players anymore by the end of the season. But I would say midway through March, I just kind of stopped playing him. So I ended up beating him. But would have been a lot more if just the first couple months of the season I was on attack mode. But Kandia was just, I don't know, he was willing to play so big that I didn't need to battle other people too.
So when you sit it, when you mean you sit them, how like you sitting 1 game, 2 games, 3? Like how do you decide how much you want to sit someone and play them?
So
in that situation,
it would kind of vary based on like sometimes I would like the lineup more and want to sit bigger. Sometimes I'd like the lineup less. I didn't always set out my own 5K and 10Ks throughout the season because a lot of the times I would get no action because I'm not a known player compared to like CSU Ram and Sahil and Wiggins. Like these guys are setting out 10Ks and the recreational players want to play against them. They don't want to play against me. So I wasn't getting recreational player action. I wasn't getting fun player action. I was just kind of getting action from whenever Empire Maker wanted to gamble. And he ran so good against me. Like I checked at the end of the year, like he won 50% of the heads ups we played against each other, but won like 15, 20,000 just because he won every big heads up and I won all the small ones. But yeah, so like I was only getting action from Sahil and Empire Maker, and I was like, well, if that's the case, I'll just sit Sahil for how much I want to sit him for and set up out to 1Ks. And on nights I wanted to play bigger, I would play bigger. And nights I didn't want to play bigger, I'd play smaller. Mm-hmm. And it kind of varied night to night based on how much I loved the lineup or like how much things were falling into place. If things felt uncertain, I'd play smaller or not play at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, man. Like, so this is more of an Asani story, but like Asani would attack these guys really hard. I mean, like really go after them and get into like a war. Like I took his, like Asani would take his 10K, then Max or Sahil would take his 10K back, then Asadi would take his next 10K. They would just keep taking each other's back and forth, and it's like apparently in a game of chicken, Sahil never lost. Like Asani was like, I was always the one who flinched first. I was like, I don't know how this guy is just willing to play as big as possible every night without knowing. It's amazing. Like
How do you think he does it? I guess. I mean, what do you think? There's some.
he's just willing. I think he's been playing DFS a lot longer than me, and by the time he became the top overall player, he probably had just like so much money that he's like 6-figure swings are nothing to him, that he's willing to take lobby dominance over like giving up a small edge. And at certain points, he would even get to the point where he's like martingaling you, where like you play him and then like you try to play bigger, or like you try to like sit bigger in the lobby, and he's willing to play you for more. And like he's like reverse martingaling you, where he just like he's forcing you to keep doubling your bet size, and eventually you'll lose. Like
Interesting. I mean, I guess does he actually quit some money before?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like
Pretty insane, right? Quitting
yeah, he's willing to play. Yeah, he's willing to play forever. Like I don't know.
That's wild.
I would imagine him and Empire Maker have battles, because Empire Maker's the same way. Like that guy has unlimited amount of gamble, and he's the best heads up player. So
give him a couple of drinks. Who knows what's gonna happen, man?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Give him some hookers and Eastern European Chicagoland girls, man. Who knows what Empire Maker's gonna be up to, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Forrest on Twitch said you might have had less success getting people on the pod if it was actually the week before. So technically, I lined this up like a month ago.
Yeah,
so
you might have done it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I could have got all the guys. I would have just done two multiples in a day if I needed to. But like, I'm like friends with like you or Asani and no Bales for a while, and like Adam plays poker too. So it's kind of like it wasn't like a total where I didn't know anyone.
Yeah,
where I'm coming to DFS. Like I know a lot of DFS guys. A lot of the other guys are my friends, and I've been friends with them for a long time. So it's like,
yeah.
Much easier. I don't want to reach out to quick randoms, but like, hey, you want to? Like, I just don't enjoy talking to random people. But Sahil was sort of random, but
right.
We had mutual friends. But he's also like the top guy. I was like, oh shit, man, I want to get the top
right.
guy on, man. Like I love getting the top people on. Obviously, at poker, I do it all the time. So
And you all like unintentionally had like a progression throughout the week too, of like you started with like the most analytical DFS player, and you moved to the more feel player. Like Asani's more of a feel player than me and Sahil are, and Sahil's more of a pure math player than I am. And then you started with Bales, who's like the most analytical like content producer, moving towards Evan Silva, who's the most like this is what I'm seeing. It's not math. He's like pure analysis of what's happening.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to put those two at the end of things.
Yeah,
I thought it would be like a good, and that's kind of why I wanted to get some of the analyst guys on, some of the guys who aren't just players too, because I wanted to do a little showcase of both sides of things. So that way you got the players, you got the guys who are who are working, who are creating content, or Adam does. I seem like Adam is fucking everything. I don't even I'm not sure what he.
I love Adam's stuff. He has a podcast he does every week with Al Zeidenfeld and CSU Ram. I think it's called Fantasy Football Edge or Daily.
I think it's
Fantasy
on DraftKings. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, it's entertaining. They go through basically the GPP plays and the things they like, and they're all like taking slightly different approaches. So like I don't know, it's cool to listen to. And I don't listen to that many podcasts, but I listen to that one. I listen to one or two that Silva does, that Silva takes part in.
Yeah.
Silva. Yeah.
Are there any other good DFS stuff? Any other DFS content or anything out there that's really created around DFS that's good?
I think Roto Grinders puts out pretty good stuff. I don't have most of I have their premium stuff for golf and for baseball. But yeah, so I mean, I'm comfortable giving this out because I don't really play that much baseball, but I thought the bat on Roto Grinders was a phenomenal model for baseball. And I I mean, it's late in the season now, but yeah, I thought the bat was a really great model. Like way better than any other model I saw. Uh,
Hmm.
so like there's models like that out there. Like I think it's almost better than the models in other sports. Like it was amazing. But what do I know? I'm not not a baseball crusher, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, no, like the bat was a great model. Other than baseball, the models just aren't as good.
Mhm.
Like it's hard to model better than somebody can do it by hand or by feel. Um, but yeah, baseball, I think you need to model. Golf, nobody knows what's good. Golf is all fucking random.
You're just clicking buttons at golf right now?
Well, yeah. So like, if you asked me to name the best golf player, I couldn't. It could be one of 30 guys. I have no idea.
Really?
Yeah, like Sahil has a completely different approach from me, and I don't know, like he used to be bad, but he's gotten better. I don't know if he's better than me now or if I'm better than him. I would have no idea. I don't. And then like the Godfather, you ever hear of him?
Sounds familiar.
He plays really big in golf. I don't really see him in other sports. But yeah, he is the guy who plays the biggest other than Sahil. And he has a different method than I have. And I don't know if his method's better than ours or better than the way I think about it. And then there's other guys who are similar to me, and I don't know if they're specifically better. It's really hard. I mean, like the sample sizes are small, and the game has super high variance. You know, like if your guy misses the cut, you're just immediately dead for the week.
You choose 6 guys in that, right?
Yeah, you choose 6 guys. So like last week, I had all 6 guys make the cut, and the team automatically wins. And if one of the guys misses the cut, then I might be in bad shape.
Yeah, I guess
Like
when it's less players, the variance is. I guess the variance when you're all playing if you're all playing at a high level, it's going to be higher.
Yeah, and I mean, you have things happen like making the cut. Just making the cut gives you an extra like 15 points around for each player that makes the cut, minimum. Maybe even more than that if that player ends up doing really well. So that's a huge swing that you just can't overcome.
It seems
Like
like
that's
inside information would really matter in golf.
yeah, and I wish I had some because like actually this happened to Sahil. Like a guy he had pulled out with an injury 15 minutes before the tournament started at 3:45 in the morning Pacific time, 6:45 in the morning Eastern time. And like some people got him out, some people didn't. I didn't have him in my lineup, but I was up during the time reading Twitter, didn't see he was out until right after lock. I didn't have him, but like if I did have him, he would have stayed there. So like how do you not even know that this guy has an injury issue that might be plaguing him? I don't know. There's no info like NBA, we know everything. Like we know if a guy has like a cold, we know if his son is sick, we know what his wife's thinking that day. You know everything going on in NBA.
You do? You personally
Oh,
do?
well, no, I mean like you just like the beat writers are on top of everything. Like they're like Rajon Rondo has like a sore knee, but he's playing through it and practicing through it, and like you know everything that's going on with every injury. And in football, you kind of the same boat. And in
Yeah.
golf, an individual sport where you're not even playing against other people, you're playing against the course, where there's no downside to letting people know you're injured. For some reason, we have no information on them. There's no like golf beat writer.
How big do you think inside information is in DFS in terms of if you know someone in the locker room, if you know somebody who's a professional golfer, who tells you, or you know someone at the golf course, you know someone's a cat? It seems like this would be valuable in all sports.
I think it'd be the most valuable in golf at this point, just based on how little information everybody else has. Um, but in basketball, maybe if a guy like I don't know, maybe you can get info that like certain guy is playing really well and like he's really confident and might get more minutes that day, or the coach likes him, or
Mm-hmm.
just things you don't know that might help you. I don't think it would be a huge difference, but it could help. Uh, Football, maybe if you knew like, so it seems like in football, in each game, like if a quarterback gets a good rapport with a receiver and he starts like really feeding that guy would go off. And if you have some inside info that he has great rapport with a guy that people don't expect, maybe you can turn that into an edge. But it seems like the edges would be smaller from that than you would expect.
Yeah.
but there would still be edge. That seems like more of a sports betting edge. Like if you know what's going on in a locker room and you know the team's really terrible.
Yeah, that's very true. It seems like it would be more of a sports betting edge. Yeah.
Right. Like knowing who to avoid is less important than knowing who to bet in a game. Knowing who to avoid in a DFS perspective because he is off or sick or not feeling well is less important than knowing what side to bet. So I would imagine inside info in sports betting is huge.
Man, you just gotta start following the PGA Tour, dude. You start going to all the events and go down to Torrey Pines, go to wherever there's. I don't know if there's an LA one. Probably an LA one. There's got to be an LA one. How could there not be?
I don't see. That's the other thing. Like at a certain point, it has to be more profitable for you to do that than sit at home. And so, like, I'm not playing big enough in golf to pay however much it costs to hang out at every course and go to every day of golf. But if I was playing for 150 grand a week or something, then maybe it's worth it for me to spend $5 grand a week on golf just to get all that extra info and be in the know.
Fucking Sahil's got his laptop and his team viewing into his computer at home, running the sim and putting in the there. Figure this out. Sahil's chilling in the hotel, chilling in the golf lobbies of the places, going out there hitting some swing.
Yeah,
he's got honorary memberships at all the courses. I mean, why not? I mean, fuck, why not?
He pays a lot of rake.
Oh my God, why not, man? Can you quickly, nonstop, what's up, Poppy? Can you quickly explain the concept of DFS to an idiot from Northern Europe? I actually don't know I don't even know what I would say.
Yeah, so essentially there's a salary cap, and you pick players that are playing games in real life, and those players, based on how good they are and how successful they've been scoring fantasy points, they cost a certain amount, and you have to go under the salary cap. You pick a team, get points for everything they do, and the person who picks the team that scores more points wins.
It sounds like one of those old Poker After Dark in the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
Let me tell you how they play pot. The most you can bet they'll raise is the size of the pot. Yeah.
And then it's the river.
Yeah. The fifth card is the river. That was like a very proper introduction to what DFS is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's available outside of England at this point.
I think just like there's some maybe some sites. I don't think it's like a mass thing.
Not the big sites.
Not the big sites.
DraftKings is in England now. I don't know about Northern Europe, but they might be able to have there might be local fantasy sites that do.
I think there are.
Yeah.
I think there are. But Vernon, if you need an account in America, let me know. Pop, beam, selling accounts to all Americans out there, motherfuckers, man. Turning this into poker, baby. We're selling accounts if anyone wants to get on, man. Oh, man. No, I'm kidding. I'm not selling anybody. I mean, it's not a bad idea, though. Get in touch. I talk about it with you. I mean, I'm not.
The sites, I think the sites have really good geolocators. It might be hard to even play with VPNs. And
now I'm more inclined to want to do something like this. Wait a sec. What if they call me in the picks to me?
Yeah. Yeah, you could be take a cut and run it for them. You could be their runner.
I'd rather just be like a stripper or something. I don't even know. I'm not trying to do anything like that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do things like that. You know that, right? They set up Bovada accounts. They set up PokerStars accounts. They set up any site account you want. Like there's a lot of non-Americans playing Bovada.
Yeah.
Which is, unfortunate for the high stakes PLO games that I play.
Well, Bovada's got bigger problems moving away from the Bovada network. That's going to be really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's going to suck.
Yeah, no more sports bettors.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what's going to happen to the ecosystem of the games. I'm not sure how much I'm going to really be focusing on that playing. I think I'm going to focus more on my my website, my membership group, and the podcast. I feel like my future is more in that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm still like. I think poker's getting it just gets boring after a while. I think Bovada especially is boring because there's nowhere else to go besides 1020. It's as high as you can go. So when you're having a lot of success at 1020,
you can't even cash it out fast enough almost.
9,500 Mac. Well, with Bitcoin you can do it.
That's pretty good.
Bitcoin they cash out in 2 or 3 days. Before it was wire, so it would take a couple week or two or a couple weeks like that. So every 95 you'd have $9,500 processing for.
Well, if you don't want your Bitcoins, I'll buy all of them. I want the Bitcoins.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I want them.
Could come in handy in the future, actually. Why do you want Bitcoin?
I love cryptocurrency. I've I was really late on the bandwagon. Like I found out about Bitcoin after it went from $10 to 250. And like it was one of those things where I was like, oh, it's too late to buy, and then it goes up more, and it's like, oh, it's too late to buy. It went up, and it goes up more, and it's like, oh, it's too late to buy. But I think cryptocurrency has a bright future. There's another one that this is really good up. This is really up your alley. There's tons of cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin. Like a lot of them are just strictly currencies. Like Bitcoin is aimed at being a global currency, like that people use and can spend easily. But there's other ones like have you heard of Ethereum?
I think I saw JMO on Twitter talking something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about building contracts. Like so, imagine if a code is a contract, and the code executes, and things get done, and you have no need for lawyers or escrows or things of that nature. Everything's done super quickly, and there's technology like that, like dealing with smart contracts. There's this one I've been playing with recently called Steam It, where it's sort of like a Reddit, but you get paid to do blogging.
Why?
Because so in Bitcoin, when people mine coins, the miner has to solve some really difficult problem, like difficult to solve problem with low probability. It's like winning a lottery. And the miner who wins it gets the reward for that block. Now in Steam, what happens is there's all these miners, and the person who wins the lottery only gets 10% of the Steam generated from that block. Then the other 90% goes towards the site and gets dispersed to people who are blogging. And the more money you have in your account, the more power you have. So like basically you can go on, you can blog about anything, really anything, because it's not censored at all. It's decentralized. So it's not like Facebook, where if you put up a bad post, somebody can, flag you and have it taken down. This is an uncensorable site that people can blog about anything, and the more power in your account, the more your upvotes for somebody's blog gives them points. And I've seen people make, you're not going to believe this, $25,000 for a blog.
What are they blogging? Wait a second. What are they blogging? They're just blogging anything?
Yeah, like you can, like some lady made a makeup tutorial and got 25 grand for it. For some reason, anarchy is really big on it. I think because there's a connection between cryptocurrency and anarchy, the anarchy community. But anarchy is huge in it. So there's a couple anarchy guys who make like 3,000 to 5,000 per blog. And you got a following built up. You can start blogging there, and it's not. So like that's the thing. Like not everybody can make huge money. Like, but you're going to make more posting on it than you ever would on Facebook. Right? So like people spend hours a day on Facebook and Reddit giving out info and like.
Is there a poker guy on the site?
I've been tinkering with it, and there was one live game player who, like a Commerce 2040 player, who hopped in for a little bit. Mm-hmm. There are a couple low stakes players, but I was the only one on there basically. Wow. But you could be the one to start the poker following, and
I mean, I'll look at it. Why not? No, that's not no downside not to.
You don't have to put in any money. They like, so the way it works is when you make an account, they give you 3 Steam, and you can't cash it out right away. Like in order to cash it out, it takes 2 years. So they give everybody this money, and you can just start blogging. And
what's 1 Steam worth?
Right now, 1 Steam is worth, I think, about 95 cents.
Okay.
So it went from like 20 cents a couple months ago up all the way up to like $4, just kind of like how cryptos go. Mm-hmm. And now it's back down to 95 cents. It's settling. It's going to be maybe a good long-term investment, but it's just one of those things where it's like you can do it for free and you'll make more money doing it than posting on Reddit or posting on Facebook.
So where are people trading the Steam on one of the markets?
They trade them on exchanges. So what happens is people will make Steam. So like say I made a poker post and the blog brought in $250 or something. And 25% went to the people who liked it and upvoted it, and 75% went to me. So I got like $200, and the people who liked it got like $55.
Wait, if you like a
And
post, you get money?
if you have like a bunch of power and you upvote the post, you say like, oh, this is a good post. I like the material. You're a contributor to it getting paid, so you end up getting paid as well.
What the hell?
It's crazy. Yeah.
There are probably people gaming the system so hard.
Well, so the thing is, it's like a quadratic formula. So the more power, like if you have 500 power in one account, that's better than 100 power in 5 accounts. So there's incentive to keep one account rather than many.
Couldn't you work with teams with people too?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you could form like an alliance or something, or like somebody's post and he always likes your post,
Yeah.
but still, like, that's his choice to do it with you, or your choice to do it with him.
Yeah, man. You and Make It Rain need to get on that site too, Poppy. You need to take over there, man. Call up David. I know David might be watching, man. Shout out to him. You gotta get him on that. Johnny said, "What's his DK name? Is your DraftKings name different?"
My DraftKings and FanDuel names are both Daut 44. It's like the only site it wasn't Daut 44 on was Full Tilt, where somebody took Daut 44 and I had to make Daut 99, and then I got my name changed when I got Red Pro.
Seems like it'd be a big advantage to have a different name on both.
Maybe. I always just liked to be known and like have the regulars avoid me and try to like play my own games and not get attacked by really good players, because that is worse for you. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's advantages to being unknown on different sites.
I wonder what it is to be if you're unknown. If you're known on
If you're known as a good player on each site, but they don't know you're the same guy, yeah, I mean that could have advantages.
Like what?
Like if you made a mistake one day or something, and a reg decided to start playing you, he would only play you on one site, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the advantages or what the disadvantages, I guess.
Maybe if people didn't want to, maybe if you were the very best player and you wanted action from everyone, you could get more action that way. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather be known, but I could see why people would want a secret name. They don't want people to know they're playing big, or
that could be something. Yeah, they don't want people. Yeah, maybe something like that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
My buddy Michael Schultz in the chat. What's up, buddy? What's up, puppy? Johnny Ho. Tobias says, I like this guy. Followed him. Much love, Tobias. Much love, man. Yeah, check out Ryan on Twitter. RC Daut. Josh Glad.
Tobias.
Golf is stupid.
Is Tobias Skirvoy?
No, that's Andreas.
No, wait.
Andreas Tobiasen.
Tobiasen. That's why. He just had a name with T-O-B in it.
Yeah. We got Matt in the chat. What's up, Matt? Rasa, Benny Plex, Walaguski, Diego Rodriguez. Hola, coramosa, mamacita, papi. Dave, Rick's son, golf is like tourney poker is a long shot. Albert Chen, my buddy Brandon Mifsud. What's up, buddy? Who else we got? Henry K. Jane Andes. Oh, shit, Jane Andes. What up, puppy? Yo, puppy, can you ask Ryan what the GTO process is to get into DFS?
I can tell you how I did it. I deposited $500. I put 250 on each site, and I started grinding. I did a lot of research, try to find good projections, try to find good information, follow a bunch of people on Twitter, see what the good players play, and try to like reverse engineer their thought process, things like that, and just work hard for a while. It's a much quicker process than poker, but it's having the same trajectory as poker. So like I would say 2014 NFL was probably like 2005 poker. And then 2015 NFL was like 2008 poker. And now it's like 2012, and next year will be like 2016. It's getting harder much faster.
Yeah. Do you foresee a point where maybe you can't win? Maybe?
They're going to have to. Well, they're going to eventually have to change the rules, because there's good players just make up too big of a percentage of contests. So they're going to have to change the rules with entry limits and things along that sort. But yeah, I mean, there could definitely be a point where there's too many good players and the rake's too high and it's just not beatable. I mean,
yeah,
like there's going to be lineups that you just can't beat. It's going to be really hard someday.
Someday.
Whereas poker, I mean, there's always going to be somebody who plays better in the moment. Like there's always going to be an edge in poker. Like you're still humans playing against humans, as long as it's not a bot. It's destroying everyone.
Fucking bots. Jesus Christ, man. We got Cosmo in the chat. Oh shit, what up, puppy? My buddy Jonathan McGowan, man. Little LP representing in the chat, man. What's up, John?
I see Cosmo on Instagram. He's grinding live games.
Is he still grinding? I don't know.
I don't know. He posted a picture like a couple weeks ago. He had like stacks of chips at like a 2-5 or 5-10 game.
Listen, Cosmo wins all the money. Don't let him fool you. Kid wins all the fucking kids.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
Kid's winning all the goddamn money, man. He's living life, man. Shout out to my buddy Cosmo, man. I like that kid a lot. Jazz Spasna says this Daut 44 is sitting in the $1 head-to-head. That fucker. Kidding. But what is thoughts on sitting at everything?
Yeah, no, people don't like that. I mean, the way I see it, the high stakes games are really hard, and I don't know. Sometimes you don't know if you're a winner in high stakes, but you know you're a winner in low stakes, and you're kind of like paying the rake at high stakes with your low stakes winnings, and for other players, you're just padding income. It's definitely on the sites to prevent it. I'm gonna keep making low stakes games. Some people want to play low stakes that wouldn't want to play higher stakes. You don't know what kind of action you get. Like, I mean, there were NBA days where I wouldn't get a heads up over like $25 fill, and like if I wasn't playing low stakes, I wouldn't get action sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I do think that there's an argument for people not liking guys sitting low stakes games, but it's definitely on the sites to make the rules.
That makes sense. I mean, obviously, I see both sides. I see your side. Yeah. I see the player side, the recreational player side. But you're not sitting. Are you just I
don't sit people. I don't really actively sit people. I just kind of make games and sit in the lobby and wait. And I don't scoop guys. I think that's bad. Occasionally, I'll take a game of like I'll scroll through the lobby once. I watched the podcast yesterday. You said you were actively bum hunting the lobby. That takes a lot of work. I'm not going to put more work into DFS than I already do. I already put too many hours. So no, I just kind of make my games and let people join them.
Yeah.
Maybe sit some people who I think are making mistakes, but that's getting rarer. People get better.
Cespa says Jay Spazna. Jay Nandez actually said, thanks. What would Daut take for a few hours of coaching?
No coaching in DFS.
No coaching.
No? It's too much compared to poker.
No like price. Poker,
right. I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it for me.
Wow.
Nope. It's not it's kind of like poker, man, right? Like if you can't win, you tout, right? And like the people who are really good aren't the ones who are giving out info, and like I'm comfortable giving out like small pieces of advice to help people get better, but I don't want to coach people to get really good.
Well, the touts aren't winning players. All the guys writing. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of them now writing articles on roto grinders, and
I would imagine a lot of them are probably tournament players that are not sure when their next paycheck's coming in. You know, like when their next win is going to come, and they want to. Also, it's fine being a tout when you're a tournament player. You just like I like these things, and then you enter everything and. It's whatever. You're just giving out general advice. But being a cash game player, giving advice is really hard. Like, I don't want to purposely like obfuscate my advice and like give like bad. I don't want to give bad advice, and I don't want to give unclear advice, and I don't want to just tell people what they should be playing. So I'm not going to give like any coaching or tout. Or the moment I tout is the moment I'm not a winner.
You know, it's funny. I used to say that about poker, but then I realized, well, you know, you're making $350 an hour. You might as well. I mean,
right?
Shit, guy, people ain't playing in your games. I mean, I start thinking about it. I started thinking about me and like, well, I mean,
I did it in poker, man. It was dumb. Like I made videos, and at the time I was like, I'm getting paid $1,000 a video. Like, why wouldn't I do this? But like, dude, I made a 24 tabling video like way back in the day, like. Maybe like 2008.
When I was 24 tabling that,
right.
Maybe, yeah. That was...
And like, I was not a mass tabler, but like I figured out how to do it and like how to do well with it. I can't tell you how many grinders came to me after that and were like, I saw your 24 table video. I've I watched it and I decided to start doing it. And like, these are guys who could like there were certain things I was doing really well, but like certain things I was probably not doing well, and they were doing well, so they could just like add my knowledge to their knowledge, and all of a sudden they're a better player and instantly. I don't know. You make the games harder so much faster. It's inevitable. Like it's just going to happen because there are people who think they can make more money doing that, and that's their side of the industry. But I don't know. I don't think it's for me anymore. I'm more touting. I do like to teach people, but it's really a slippery slope in DFS where you can make the games instantly harder with one or two new high stakes regs.
Mm-hmm. Especially from poker background.
Yeah, it's
like a successful high stakes poker player. That's why like when I was talking with my people that I know, I'm like, I know they're not gonna want to tell me like what to do. Like it wouldn't make sense. I'm literally willing to fire like as many, like I'll gamble as high as high as I can. I feel confident. So
yeah.
Not the kind of person who has work ethic and was also made to the high stakes of poker. It's not the person you want to be like, hey, let me like tell you what to do here in DFS.
Right.
Thing, so.
Well, I mean, I'm comfortable giving out info that's like available and telling people what info to avoid and things like that. But giving really specific info and telling them how to get really, really good or coaching them it's bad news for business.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you don't know how much longer it's going to be around. I mean, 1 year, 2 years, and
it's going to be around, but it's going to be way less profitable. And maybe even by the end of next NBA season, NBA might not even be that beatable anymore. I mean, I can imagine a world where cash games are unbeatable and it's all GPPs. Just because...
kind of what's happening in poker now.
Right.
It's what they're trying to...
tournaments, yeah.
That's what they're doing. It's not unbeatable. It's because of the rake and because of the changes they're making, and they're pushing everyone towards spin and goes and tournaments. And
right. Do people still crush? Like, is it even possible to beat like 1-2 PLO on stars? It is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's not... Go ahead. Come on. Of course it is. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, not the regular... I mean, like, really good players, yeah. But not... It's, like, easy to beat a lot of limits, yeah. But, yeah, it's... certainly challenging, of course, because there's less fish. There's less
7 big blinds of rake, and it's hard.
It's fucking ridiculous, yeah. When you think about it, I mean, the rake. I just don't understand why. Like, there's always got to be rake on every. Like, why can't there be a site that's just no rake? Like limited rake. Like,
so
it'd be all regulars. That's the argument, right?
Cryptocurrency could make a site that's no rake because the transaction fees are so small. The problem is collusion. Like there's going to be since it's decentralized, you have like very little in the way of collusion detection and cheating. And so there could be like heads up cryptocurrency poker sites that have very, very small rake. So it would work for heads up where there's not really possible to cheat outside of like planning a Trojan and seeing somebody screen, right?
Yeah, outside of some, who knows?
Yeah, they find ways to cheat.
They always find ways to play. Yeah. Cosmos says, Daut, do you play DFS MMA, or is that even beatable?
I don't. A Jones does. I think Aaron does well, but I didn't. So I used to play this before I started playing DFS. I played this fantasy MMA called, I think it was Counter something. Look at it. I don't remember what it's called anymore, but it was really fun, and I really liked how they ran MMA fantasy. And then DraftKings wasn't as fun. Like it seemed like there would be too much overlap in lineups compared to Countermove. That's what it's called with a K, Countermove. So Countermove had a great system where like everybody was ending up on unique teams, but it didn't really fit with how DraftKings does things. And the way DraftKings does it, there's a lot of overlap between lineups. I would imagine there's still edge in picking the very best lineup, but I haven't really played it at all. I probably should. It seems fun.
Why not? Does Sahil play it?
I don't think so. I think he just plays the 3 major sports: golf and soccer. I don't think he can play. You can't play hockey and basketball at the same time. That's insanity. Like there are a couple people who do it, but I mean, you have to be working with somebody who's giving you like I feel like that's what they're doing. Like somebody's giving them a lineup to do it, or the teams lock at the same time, and basketball towards lock is insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you could do two sports at once.
James says Daut's favorite MMA fighter and why.
Carlos Condit. He just lost, but yeah,
last weekend in Vancouver, right?
I love Carlos Condit. He's just super exciting and fun to watch, and smart guy. Been around forever, fights anybody, and he's flawed. He's like not a perfect fighter. Like you can beat him, but all his fights are fun.
What you think about the Conor McGregor and the Diaz rematch when Conor actually had a bunch of time to prepare and get up to weight?
Yeah, I mean it was a great fight. It was fight of the year for sure. It's amazing though that like he has such a gigantic edge for 2 rounds, and then Diaz just makes the fight equal after 2 rounds of taking a beating, like getting his ass whooped for 2 rounds. Like he got dropped 3 times, got bloodied up, couldn't see, still makes a fight of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. His condition when he gets beat up is
yeah. It's not just conditioning too. It's like the ability to take strikes and not be knocked out and not be concussed it's unbelievable. I feel like I would take one punch and roll over and cry.
Yeah, you're getting it like repeatedly. Like yeah,
it's something.
You never actually did any of that? Did any striking or anything?
I'm interested in learning because it seems really cool and fun, and I wish I could like throw a proper kick with my left foot because my left foot doesn't work like my right leg.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, if you didn't play soccer when you were little, like you just don't develop your foot coordination with your off foot. Like even my left hand isn't that coordinated from my right hand, but like you can throw a punch lefty because you use your left hand for a lot of things. Whereas your left foot, right?
Bang bang. Not me for the rest of the year, of course, but you know, most people do. So
yeah.
basketball really helps with that. By the way, I mean basketball, you can get your left hand developed really well if you work at it.
Did that take you a while for the second hand?
For basketball?
Yeah.
No, I actually started off when I started playing basketball like 2.5 years ago.
So you never played before that?
I played when I was a kid, but I didn't play basically from 19 till 28 or something like that.
So did you play in high school or middle school?
I played baseball.
So you didn't even play in middle school. So like you really picked up basketball as like a complete newcomer.
Yeah, it was awesome. I played NBA 2K. I was addicted. I went to the gym. I started playing. But I mainly started using my left hand because I get my shot up faster off the left, where the right you get it blocked, the left you can put it in your pocket faster. So
yeah,
I got really used to using my left.
So did you like how much did you play versus how much did you drill?
Oh, it's like 85-15 drill.
Oh, really? You're almost always just at the court by yourself, like working stuff?
For sure. I love doing drill. I picked up this new thing where I don't leave the paint at all. So I was doing a workout the other day. I stayed in the paint for 2 hours. I just didn't leave the paint at all. And I would practice finishing left foot, right foot, both feet, different bounces, cuffing the ball, putting it over, switching hands, underhand, overhand, everything. I drill everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Turns out this really helps.
Yeah. I was thinking. I'm just trying to think of like how I would apply this to climbing, because climbing is a little different. Like you don't have the energy to climb nearly as many hours as you can drill basketball.
That's true. Your forearms get so fucking tired.
Yeah, your grips would die. So when I go in, I basically just climb a bunch of stuff, and if there's a move I can't do, I work that one move. But I haven't really approached it in like let me get as good as I can kind of way, and really technically master every move.
I wonder if climbing's something where, you know, the reason I think I got good at basketball is because it's similar to poker in that it's sort of like poker, you get better, you play poker. You sit down, you play poker. There's other things you can do. You can study, you can do that. But you get better at poker by playing poker. You sit down, you put the hours in. And I think basketball is the same. You go to the gym, you play basketball. Really easy. There's one thing to do. You go there, you sit, you play. That's it. You can work out, you can take care of your diet, you can take care of your body because health is more of a thing. For the most part, you just do that. Seems like with climbing, it's pretty similar. If all you can do is climb, then there's got to be ways to be able to. I mean, you'd think over time, if you just kept doing it 4 or 5 days a week and you kept pushing past that point of endurance in terms of your grip, in terms of your, I imagine it's something that you could definitely improve on.
Yeah. Well, there's certain things that take a long time to improve. Like the finger strength takes years, but the forearm strength comes really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can work on, your forearm strength, your back strength, your form. Like the technique is really important. Your footwork.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably drill more instead of just like going up and trying to climb.
You mentioned that footwork, and that's something I work on a lot. I imagine you could probably just go from one hold to one hold very slow, repetitively until you completely got the angle down, kind of where you're going down. And I mean, I'm sure. I wonder if there are drills you do in climbing. I never really thought about.
Oh, there are for sure drills. I mean, I just don't really do them, but yeah, like there's a lot of times where there's like a little nub to put a foot on, and you have to take one foot and slide it in over the other because you want to switch your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so think of it this way. If I have my left hand on a hold and I'm going to be reaching up right, I want my right foot so that I'm like opposite parts of my body. If I was right hand, right foot, I would just kind of like barn door off. I would just kind of like swing off.
And you could drill that too.
Right. So like you
would
want to drill like switching your feet onto a hold. So yeah, you can just like hold on and like constantly switch your feet back and forth, get really smooth and really technical, and
I was climbing for a little bit, but I went back to basketball. I'm like, fuck this. I feel like
it's hard to do a lot of things. Like I want to be good. Like I want to go to the driving range, be a better golfer. I want to pick up basketball, and I don't have the energy. I'm 32 years old. I'm not an athlete. Like I do this stuff for fun. Like
yeah, dude, we're getting old, buddy. Shit.
It's hard to do it all day, every day.
We're getting old. Does Adam play Daily Fantasy Sports Ruthless?
He's the one who got me into it, but he doesn't play as much because, for one, he's a tournament player, so like Sundays he's busy playing tournaments. 2, he lives in Florida, which is semi-restricted, so there's less sites he can play on. But yeah, I don't think he plays for football. He plays for basketball. He's pretty good basketball DFS player, but he doesn't play it as big as he plays in poker. So like poker's still his profession, and he just kind of plays DFS on the side and has fun with it.
Yeah.
He's a much bigger NBA fan and basketball fan than I am, and he just loves it, I think.
That's kind of why I liked playing it last year. I played NFL just because I assumed it'd be really easy, and I couldn't believe it, but
yeah, that was the thing. That's weird. Like Ruthless had the same thing where he was winning consistently in basketball, but I don't think he was beating football. And I was like, football's supposed to be easier. Like I don't know why you're struggling.
It seemed really easy.
I was like, he wasn't winning in football, but he was winning in basketball. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of I don't know. I'm not like I kind of want to play it this year, but at the same time, you like take so much time preparing your lineup. You're like studying conditions of all this stuff. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about football is the once a week. Like you don't have to play the Thursday night game. You can just play the Sunday slate, and you can. So in Chicago, you'll have to wake up a little early. Not as early as I have to get up at like 5 a.m. on Sundays. But you can play a little less and concentrate more on less lineups and less sites and put a couple hours in.
My strategy last year, just pick Matt Forte, man. Gosh, I got to pick the Bears Matt Forte every time. And then sometimes there'd be like these value spots. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck. I'm picking Matt Forte. I don't care. I'm picking Matt Forte.
He was a really good, well, not last year, but in general, he's like the kind of player you want in DraftKings where he gets like 7 receptions a game. So even if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's still going to have a good game. But he had a pretty down year last year, I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Then he got hurt a little bit at the end, and now Bears got a new running back. Now he's on the Jets, and
yeah,
there it is. So, who are you football? Are you a Giants fan?
I'm a Jets fan.
Jets fan?
It's hard being a Jets fan, man.
Oh no. Who's your quarterback this year? Fitzpatrick still with?
Yeah, I think he's back. But yeah, it's. I mean, they're a much better team now than they were 2 years ago. They're a good team now, but it's hard, man. Like rooting for a team that's bad every year in a sport where like 1 year you can turn it around. They're just bad almost every year. Never made a Super Bowl while I've been alive. Made the AFC Championship game twice and got blown out. Like, it's tough. Yeah. And then when you're a DFS player, you're like, you're not really picking players from bad teams. Like sometimes you do. Like teams that still score a lot, but the Jets were never that team. So like there were years went by when I wouldn't have a Jets player. Now it's different. Now Derek Deckard, Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte can all choose all of them. But
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Even Fitzpatrick, yeah, he's generally cheap enough that you can take him. But yeah, I was never choosing my players and cared more about the teams I was making than the Jets, how they did. So I don't know. It's a weird mentality where like you don't like. Now I'm a pretty big basketball fan. I don't even have a team. I don't care who wins.
You're not a Knicks fan?
I wasn't like a basketball fan growing up, so I never had a team. So now that I basically became a basketball fan because of DFS, and there's no allegiance. If Durant had stayed, I would have been a Thunder fan this year.
Now you can be a Oklahoma City fan. I'm still a Bulls fan. I'm got the Bulls. I feel like I've become less of a football fan because the Bears have just been fucking like pretty, like they're cock teasing you, man. They got Cutler. It seems like he'd be so good. They get new coach, and got Trustman, got Fox. Like you're always fired up, and then they're just always terrible, and then they never like do anything. And I feel like that's hurt my football enthusiasm a little bit. So. Yeah, it's tough to root for a team that sucks every year and keep coming back.
Leganus
says, what does DFS mean? Dirtman says, Department Family Services. That's exactly what DFS means, yeah. James says, Cosmo bet on Venmo for 100 that the third fight won't happen within 2 years between Diaz and McGregor.
Ooh. I hope he's right. I hope it doesn't happen for a long time.
They save it when they're both withered and a little bit withered.
Well, no, not that. But I mean, like, Conor's like one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. He's a champion in a division that he hasn't defended a belt in for a year. Like, I want to see him against Jose Aldo. I want to see him against Frank Edgar. I want to see him against Donald Cerrone. I want to see him against Eddie Alvarez, Rafael. I want to see him against everybody in 145 and 155, and he's not fighting these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see all those fights. I don't want to see Diaz again. I've seen it twice, and it's a fun fight. If it happens again, it'll be a great fight, but I know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah. Why does my camera keep flickering? This camera's tilting the fuck out of me. It just keeps flickering constantly over here. I'm looking at it right here.
It's not moving, but like I hear the flicker.
Well, no, that one, so there's two. I have one on me and you, and then I have one that I'm using for this. I'm testing this new thing out, so there's two cameras. I don't know if that's why. So we're going to take a couple questions from the chat, and we're going to wrap things up with Ryan. Right. Ryan Hams. Daut hopes they'll have DFS and American Ninja Warrior. I hope that too.
Dude.
That'd be sick.
I fucking love American Ninja Warrior. I actually wonder why like some of the guys in my climbing gym don't go try out for it. Because like I feel like the two best sports for it, gymnastics has to be number one. Like if you're a male, if you're like the number 4 American male gymnast and you're not making the Olympic team, why don't you just go out and win Ninja Warrior?
There's a lot of gymnasts on there, right? Like there's a lot of those gymnast guys that do it.
The only disadvantage is like some of the obstacles. It's advantageous to be tall.
And if you're too short, yeah.
Right, like it's hard to make up that warped wall where it's like 12, 14 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But rock climbers are number 2 behind gymnasts in sports that would feed really well into that. Like that was Isaac Caldiero, he won.
I'd be curious to see like some fucking athletes on, like some athlete. You know, like that's kind of what I want to. I want to see some athletes on this thing, man. Give these top athletes who are like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" some time to prepare and actually do it. I feel like they would just.
Yeah, like put Russell Westbrook on there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, put Russell Westbrook in
tear that course apart.
You put Russell Westbrook in anything, man. I mean, like, he was a soccer player. You put him in anything, he would be. Yeah, he'd be. I mean, yeah, they'd be.
Oh, dude, I was in Vegas for a bachelor party 2 weeks ago. And he was in the booth next to me at Encore Beach.
Sick.
And I'm like, we're all trying to, we're like, holy shit, it's Westbrook. And we're all trying to talk to him. And he just like didn't want to be bothered. I'm trying to like make friends with his entourage to like sneak in. Not working. I'm not like that.
They didn't. What'd they say? Did you talk to him at all?
No, I didn't talk. I didn't say a word my buddy got a fist bump out of him. That's the extent of our interaction with him, and he was like 10 feet away. But apparently, he likes to play at the win a lot. I think
Yeah,
he plays.
he played a bunch of PLOs here. He played about a lot of 100, 200 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Were you out there?
Yeah, I was there for a couple weeks. Remember after I was in LA after we.
Yeah. I remember you cashed either the 10K PLO or the 5K PLO or you passed one of the PLOs, but
3K, the 6 max one, yeah.
Yeah. But you were playing cash the whole time?
No, I just played those. I played the 10K, 25K, and the 3K PLO, and then I played a couple cast sessions, and then I went out every night.
Yeah.
I just got fucking out of line. I was out every single night there. It was bad.
Well, that's like your new job is to interact with poker players. You gotta interact with people.
Well, like I think is I make a lot of friends on the podcast, man. I talk to these people and then I talk to them like outside of the podcast and
every one of them is going out once every 2 weeks, and you're going out with every single one of them on different nights.
That's pretty much what I did. So this group, I'd go out with these guys, and I go out with these guys, and I go out with these guys, and I go out with these guys, and yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's fun, but the thing is, like, you put so much pressure on myself because I wanted to go out with people every single night. Like I want to do things. This is the only time I'm gonna be with these guys. I'll be around these people, and now I'm back here, and they're not. They're all spread out around the world. So it's like, in retrospect, I may go upon it smarter. I try to work out more and try to diet better and try to. I don't even know how to do it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the GPO approach is. So
yeah,
I don't know. Next year we'll do it again. So let's see. My buddy Ivan, what up, Ivan? Papi con la moza, let's party. This might be a dumb question, but do any DFS site run soccer for sports? Yes, they do. Come on, Papi. Yeah. James says, kill, marry, fuck Ronda Rousey, Paige Van Zandt, Misha Tate.
Kill, marry, fuck. Let's see. I would marry Misha Tate.
What?
Kill Ronda Rousey. Fuck Paige Van Zandt.
That Paige woman seems happy. Like she seems like a good person.
It's close between her and Misha, but I feel like
her.
I don't know. If there's an age gap though, I'm 32. She's like 22. That's
true. Not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those young fucking girls.
You can date them, but you can't. Yeah.
Nah, they're fired up, man. They even like younger. I don't even hanging out with them, man. I don't. So,
right.
Talking some fucking weird shit. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Not gonna be able to. I'm out, man. I like older women, man. I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I mean, a couple more questions here.
I like age-appropriate women.
How old's your girl?
She's 30.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I thought she was younger than that. She looks young. They all look young in California. Everyone looks young in California, man.
Yeah.
The sun makes you look young. Does Daut like to watch all the games and sweat it out?
So for football, what I'll do is I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and start like getting to work on like all the projections and everything, and set all my lineups on. I'm playing probably 5 sites this year. I'm also playing Yahoo Fantasy Draft and Fantasy Aces. And around 10, I'll probably once the games start, I'll eat breakfast, I'll check stuff. And then I play all the slates. So I play the 10 a.m. slate, I play the 1 p.m. slate, and then I'll play even the late slate. So once the 1 p.m. slates are in, I'll probably take like an hour or two nap. So I'll have the games on in the background for the 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. games. And then from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., I'm not watching the games. I'm just kind of napping. Wake back up at like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. and spend the next hour and a half working on the late night stuff. And so there's some sweating and then some not sweating. And Sunday night game is usually the best game of the week. I'll watch that sometimes. Sometimes I'm just too burnt out from like being up since 5 a.m. and I don't want to make it a 15-hour day. I want to make it a 12-hour day, and I'll just bolt and go eat. But so yes and no. Basketball you have to watch. Like you can't not watch basketball. There's no like turning the games off and like taking a nap. Like from 4 to 10, I'm watching basketball. Once in a while, I'll leave at like 7:45 and not watch the Laker game or whatever the last game is.
Yeah, terrible games last year that were the night games, which was fucking awful.
Yeah, like it's always Lakers and Clippers and
Lakers Sacramento.
Warriors in a blowout. Yeah,
it wasn't very good last year, the late games. For NFL, so I had a good question there for NFL. Oh, I guess you could just red zone. You could just DVR red zone and then watch it on Monday.
Yeah, you could.
That's probably what I would do if I couldn't watch the games.
Yeah, watching Red Zone is an okay idea. In general, I kind of just like read the recaps. Like I'll read Silva's recap the next week, and I'll get all my info there. And what I miss, I miss. I don't go back. It's hard to watch sports that already happened, where you know what happened, and like you're watching the games. It's okay to watch SportsCenter when they're like showing you highlights, but
Yeah.
it's hard to watch like a game.
I don't think there's value in just watching the replay, watching Red
Oh,
Zone.
there's some value. Like I would probably pick up some stuff, but there's only a limited number of hours on Earth. I don't know. Like I have all these other interests that I want to have time for, and I don't want to like live and breathe something. Like I'm not like Sahil, man, where I want to like be the best in the world at this and devote my entire life to it. And he also has his process automated a little better so that so like for instance, he plays big enough where he can just kind of click this button on DraftKings that registers you for every contest. So he doesn't really need to worry about any game selection or any contests, or he just clicks like register all. And I used to do this on another site. So it was like super easy to register for that site. But once you get to the point where like you care about game selection, it takes you much longer to register. So
Wait, so he goes and clicks register all.
oh yeah, he clicks the button and just registers.
So there's a button that literally you can register for every single possible contest.
Oh yeah, it's super. It must be super. He's like, oh yeah, registering is easy. Like just click this one button and I'm in every contest. And it doesn't enter you in every heads up, but like it'll enter you in every double up, every triple up, every GPP,
everyone that starts, it'll register for you in that too.
Right, and then for his GPP teams, he probably does something like enters the max lineups in a bunch of them and just splits up those lineups somehow. I don't really know how he does it.
There's a register all button. No one uses it except one guy, but you know.
Yeah. Makes his life easier. So I used to use it on one site, and it was like, oh yeah, I love playing this site. I just click register all, and I'm done in like 3 seconds. But now Conde is on that site this year. It's fantasy draft. So Conde is on fantasy draft, and I don't want to battle him early in the season until I see what he's doing.
You actually bring up something I was kind of doing a little bit last year, which is game selecting sites. There's so many sites. There's a lot of the smaller sites.
Yeah.
It would seem like, and a lot of the other, like I was playing on Own the Play last year, which is this Own the Play.
I've heard of it. Is that the site where you see the ownership percentages?
Yep, as you pick them,
Yeah. And they constantly change. But like if you put in a dummy lineup, that means that it's showing dummy lineup percentages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the salaries were so fucking weird compared to other sites. And
right.
So I imagine if the projections for like those sites aren't necessarily out there, so if you got really good at identifying and figuring out salary structures on some of these smaller sites, that could be your edge. Like if you're looking for an edge in DFS and you're one of these guys who may be good,
yeah,
it could be something worth investigating. Whether the amount of money you can obviously bet or you can play, contests you can play is going to be limited, but at the same time, it's something to
right. Those sites. Also, if you think about it this way, like say your first $5,000 put in are profitable, and then your $5,000 first dollar is losing on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want to play like, and you're only comfortable playing like $8,000 worth of buy-ins a week? Wouldn't you want to play like 2,000 on DraftKings and then 1,000 on FanDuel and then 1,000 on these other sites, and then fill in the other thousands where you feel confident, like you end up having a more profitable overall portfolio.
Yeah, I guess then it's just more work. You got to figure out the differences between the DraftKings and FanDuel scoring, and then figure out the scoring on other sites that might be a little different.
Right. It takes some time.
Yeah, that's sort of where
like for instance, the Fantasy Aces site is a very different site from all the others, and it takes me a lot longer to make a lineup there. Whereas like Fantasy Draft is kind of modeled after DraftKings, so I can make my DraftKings lineup, and then I can make my Fantasy Draft lineup really quickly, just based on what happened on DraftKings.
Fantasy Draft was that one site all the pros were doing the affiliate thing for a long time, right? Yeah, okay.
Right. And then the other thing about these sites is like DraftKings, the overlays are filling. These smaller sites, they might not be filling overlays. So you can even get in rake reduced or rake free contests or overlay contests.
Are there more DFS sites this year, you think? Are there new ones that's kind of popped up?
I haven't checked new ones. I should probably check if there's more I could add. I'm just on those 5 right now. Maybe Own the Play is big. I remember there's some site where there's no salary. Have you heard about that?
Salary pot or draft pot or something like that.
Yeah. Draft pot, where like you can take whoever you want. And it's like, are you kidding me? You just take the best player at every position.
Could be worth investigating. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's apparently there's like two different types of play there. But yeah, I'll check out that site. I'll play any site. I mean, during football at least.
I'm surprised
Basketball.
Yahoo didn't get bigger.
So yeah, Yahoo is fun, man. Yahoo was crazy. So at the beginning of last Yahoo season, they were just starting. So they started in baseball. So the first 2 months of baseball in 2015, I was terrible. And then Fantasy Labs came out, and this is when I started doing better at baseball. Like they helped me become like a winning baseball player, like break even. And as the season grew on, I started starting to do worse because the fun players are quitting and mostly good players, and hard to overcome the rake. So I started playing on Yahoo, and Yahoo was just a madhouse. Like nobody knew about it. It was a pain in the ass to register for stuff. So it was just like, it was me and Dave and a couple of our friends, and we were all like, everybody was just battling this one guy for dominance, and like eventually we won the battle and took over Yahoo. And we just like played everything on Yahoo all the time. There was overlay in every contest, and it was just like we were getting all the value. So like I was a winning baseball player because of Yahoo last year. And then football season came around, and they were going to run $1 million guarantee tournament with a $10 buy-in, where you could enter up to 1,000 times. And about halfway like the Thursday before week 1, it was very obvious that they were not even going to get like 75,000 entries, and there was going to be at least 250,000 overlay. So, but the registering process took forever. So like one at a time had to enter this lineup 1,000 times and then try to split it up. So like every week there was 250K overlay on Yahoo, and nobody's taking advantage of it. And like I'm basically entering my cash lineup into a GPP like 500 times. And if it cashes, I just like make all the money. But it's cashing such a high percentage because like 50%, it was basically a double up. It turned the Yahoo GPP into a double up because half the field cashed. So then they just they stubbornly ran it for 3 weeks without changing the guarantee, because Yahoo's like a $30 billion company. And then finally they were like, we're hemorrhaging money here. We need to calm this down. And now their overlay is really small or non-existent. So the games got harder. And like Condia started playing Yahoo. Hoop 2410 plays it now. Some other good players. So like the early parts of baseball season, I was winning a lot in Yahoo, and then good players came and it got a lot harder. And that's the thing. Like you don't need that many good players to make a site hard.
Sounds like Condia taking over all the sites now. I don't know. We got to get Sahil on these sites. Does Sahil know about Yahoo? We gotta go.
Yeah, we used to battle Sahil on Yahoo too. But he played good enough that we didn't like Yahoo. Yahoo's a weird lineup structure compared to FanDuel and DraftKings. And eventually he quit because it was probably too much work for him. Like doing that third site, he just like didn't. It's a pain in the ass to register.
They make it easier. 1,000 entries. They don't make it easy to register. It don't make much sense.
It was like you had to you basically would click like join game. It brings you to the join page. You have to like import the lineup, hit enter. It took you like every minute you could maybe enter it 6 times. So to enter 1,000 lineups, you need to spend like over 2.5 hours registering. Just that one tournament took you 2.5 hours of registering. And then if you want to enter multiple lineups, it was a pain in the ass trying to like split lineups or like export to. They didn't even have these features. And like you when you create heads ups, you can only create them one at a time. So like,
what?
Yeah, no, they used to email us asking for suggestions, and we were like, you should keep that one because like it would reduce bum hunting. Because it takes time to like make a bunch of heads up lineups.
Did they keep that one? Did they keep that or change that?
They kept that one. But yeah, Yahoo. I think it's the number 3 site behind FanDuel and DraftKings. But yeah, they were trying to be as big as the others, and they were, which is weird because they have such a successful season-long platform. Like, how did these people not jump over and play DFS?
Why is my camera doing this? Tilting me. That's what I was thinking too. Is you're so big. They're Yahoo. They have all of this traffic that comes to the site already.
but for some reason people aren't playing their.
Well, I wonder why, because the fucking software sounds terrible. I mean, of course, why? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure people like register and they can't
it's
do
gotten
it.
progressively better, but yeah, they were making huge mistakes. Like the software was a nightmare to deal with. They had huge overlay. I don't know. I don't know why it's not popular. I think a lot of regs don't want to play it, and then there probably just aren't enough fun players on during the middle parts of the season.
Hmm.
But yeah, some of my favorite DFS memories are from like battles on Yahoo.
Like what? What's one of them?
There was this guy Tom. Like I don't even know who it is. It could have been anybody. His name was Tom. Because in Yahoo you don't have like I'm not unless you request to be something. They just give you your first name. So every day, like I would play Yahoo. This guy Tom would take all of my games, and like it happened 1 or 2 days in a row, and I then thought that he was worth playing. So I started taking all his games. So it just turned into this enormous battle for like lobby dominance. And eventually we defeated Tom and took over the lobby. And then a new guy came up and starts battling and is just like God moding us, and you beat him one day and he quits and never comes back. And then some of the biggest like Kandia battles I had were on Yahoo. Like I used to really go after Kandia there. Because like the main sites are one thing, but then Yahoo had this weird lineup construction where you're just playing a completely different. It's just a completely different approach, and you can't be a field player almost. You have to be math based. So it was a bad site for him. But he still beat me in football there. I don't know. I don't know how he did. He's just a fucking wizard. Like he just picks the guy, and I don't know. I'm not going to play him in the early parts of the season, but I'm a little better at game selecting. But if he doesn't God mode, maybe I'll sit him. But it's hard to play regs in football. Like most people are pretty good.
Yeah.
Even he's really good. Like he clearly has his own edge that he created. And he's definitely the biggest outside of A.E. Jones now that he won the $5 million. But yeah, maybe Condi is the biggest winner of all time in NFL. It's possible, even without winning the 5. He won $1 million.
We need that behind the scenes untracked data, Poppy. We need that FanDuel, DraftKings data.
Well, so like it's insane too because like he was not one of the top players in NBA, but there was a point in the season where I was sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, why does this guy just continue to set out big games? And like, why doesn't he block me? Why is he like continuing to play people? And it got to the point where I was like, he must just be getting all this action because of his name, and he's still winning despite giving up edge to top guys. So like this guy might have like orders of magnitude more money in play each week than I thought, and be cleaning up.
Do you think a lot of fun players sit him because of his name?
Oh yeah, he's definitely the most famous guy there is, I think. Even though he wasn't like CSU Ram won $1 million tournament in baseball, I think. And like Drew Dinkmeyer won Millionaire Maker, and like some other famous players have won Millionaire Makers. And he never won one of those, but I still think he was the most famous guy. Even now that Sahil has taken over for the past probably year and a half, like it's still Kandia is like the most famous guy because he made the live final in football, like the final 10, had a huge lead. Yeah, he must just get like all the action.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, like, a fun player obviously gets to choose who they want to sit at the high stakes heads ups, right? So
yeah.
they probably pick the more. I would assume.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I wonder what their fucking logic is. I don't know. Maybe they don't know, or they want to play this guy because. I mean, maybe like they had there was that video about him. Maybe that's.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't know.
Yeah. Hold on, your sound went haywire.
Is it crazy?
It's better now. Yeah, it like got really soft.
Oh, okay.
No, I assume they just kind of like they recognize him. They're like, I have a chance to play the best in the world. I could win. It's like poker. Like if Phil Ivey was sitting at 2-4 heads up, I'd probably play him. I was like I'm gonna go play Phil Ivey. I know I'm probably gonna give up a little edge, but whatever. Why not?
That's true. So Kanye sits all the lower stake stuff too, right?
Yeah. I don't think he sits. I mean, guys like him and Max that are playing like even 7 figures worth of stuff. They don't need to sit the $1 and $2 games like I'm sitting, because I'm only playing like, I don't know how much I'll have them play, but per slate I have much less than they do. Per slate per site. So the small games make up a bigger percentage of my games, but those guys, they have like my roll and play a week. They're insane.
Yeah, for NFL, they're probably gonna be. I think so. I was talking about something over $1 million. So it's
Yeah, that sounds right. They have a lot of gamble. That's crazy. I couldn't mentally. That's weird too that they weren't really poker players. Like, I know Kandia played a little poker, and Sahil said he played some and lost a couple thousand, but like they're like having this much in play and being unaffected by it without coming from a poker background. It's crazy.
The thing is, like, they might be like this because the poker players realize, like, hey, we saw what happened in those crazy fuckers live in poker. Like, they all, like, a lot of those guys, come busto, like they weren't necessarily, these weren't good approaches. So like these guys maybe they never went through that. They didn't, like maybe there are other guys that did this and they didn't run as hot and now they're broke and they don't play. I mean, that could be the case where they just don't know. Like they haven't really seen people go broke doing it. Whereas like poker players have seen a lot of people go broke doing this strategy.
Right.
So it's like,
like I see so many similarities between Sahil and Dur. Where like I like whenever I was playing Sahil during NBA, I was picturing it like when Isildur was playing like 9 tables of heads up at 501k and Ivy was like 1 tabling him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how is this guy doing all these things at once and like specialists are like taking shots at him and like how is he allowing this to happen? Like, I don't know, man. They different mindset, but like it's hard to balance that mindset of like being that aggressive and being the best with also having like, being a little more conservative and at the same time like not spewing. Like how do you be as aggressive as possible without spewing? Like it's hard to balance. And
I think someone said yesterday your arch nemesis Hollywood Haxton from poker back in the day. If you picture look at him and you just don't look at his face, but picture
I kind of hear the voice.
Hollywood Haxton's voice. It's like the same voice. I was like, man, it is like Hollywood Haxton's voice a lot. Like very similar voice. Yeah, very.
I hope Hollywood Haxton's not my nemesis. Then he's taking over.
Be a bad fucking nemesis to have.
Hollywood Haxton. Nemesis to have.
Jesus,
that is the best.
who won that tournament, by the way, that you guys played back in the day, the PCA one?
I won.
Okay. I just thought he won.
Yeah, no, I mean like he won long term. Like he's the winner. But no, back then, like at the time the tournament happened, I was probably a better poker player. And like at that, like I don't know. After that time, like I was so focused during that tournament, and then after that, I had so much trouble like playing my A+ game in poker. I would just like always be like robotically just like watching movies and like playing my B game and like I don't know, just mindlessly playing. But Haxton, like I would say within 2 months was a better player than me. Like the first month at 2550, I don't think he was that good. Like we both kind of jumped up stakes. But within 2 months, I was like, wow, this guy's gotten really good. So like by like March of 2007, he was definitely a better poker player than me, and has been ever since.
Not a better DFS player though.
No, but he doesn't need to be. When you're the end boss of one game, you don't have time for DFS.
That's definitely true. We've been going long, man. We gotta get you going for a couple of hours, Bobby.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens during baseball and golf season. I don't have shit to do, and
I know. It's fun, man. I appreciate having you on, man. I'll probably get you back on again during NFL season too.
Yeah, I can. Before basketball season starts, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm not doing shit. Like,
okay,
nothing going on those days.
Girl from a slut. Wait, she had NFL season or she had NBA, right? A big end of NBA season.
So she's a CPA. So she does kind of like internal audits for major companies.
Yeah.
So her busy season is the season leading up to April 15th. So we started dating like early January, and I was super busy with NBA, and she was super busy with tax stuff. And like, I mean, it's easy to make time like for me after 9 p.m. because I don't have to be up early for basketball. and football was basically over by then. So like, it was easy to hang out like Saturday nights and stuff. But yeah, like our busy seasons kind of coincided, so it worked out well. Whereas
We'll see what happens now.
yeah, well NFL season's easy. Basketball the first
Stuff.
couple months is going to be especially when basketball overlaps NBA. It's like
NFL,
yeah, basketball overlaps NFL. Like the Sundays, I don't even know what to do. Like some days you want to play both. Some days you're just like, I can't play basketball today. I need to concentrate. It's tough.
the life of a DFS player, Poppy.
Yeah, like right now it's like a 5-hour a week job, and then in December it's like a 65-hour a week job.
Can't you? Why do you only spend 5 hours? You don't spend
Well,
more?
right now it's golf. So I do my registering for stuff on Monday, and then Wednesday I'll put in like a 2-hour block into like making a lineup. I'll take a little break, come back, and do like 3 hours of work towards the end, and make sure everything's set, make sure I'm not making any mistakes. And so right now it's probably like, including the time spent registering, probably like an 8-hour week with golf. And then
NFL's how long?
NFL, well, Sunday is like a 12-hour day itself. And then I have to do a bunch of work Thursday because there's that game. So there's probably another 3 or 4 hours of registering and like checking on stuff. And so just NFL is probably going to end up like probably about a 20-hour week, 20-hour week, when it's only NFL season, which is great. And most of it's one day.
It'd be worse. Not bad.
Yeah. But then NBA is like 7 hours a day for me, every day. And then, well, more than 7 hours because there's registering and stuff.
I mean, kind of like the 3 slate games though on like Thursdays or some Tuesdays aren't.
There were a couple of those days I took off just because I was a little. I might even take a trip this year, like just to clear my head and like skip a week.
Where are you gonna go? Where do you want to go?
Maybe like Costa Rica or somewhere like to chill out by the beach and not think about DFS for a little bit. I'll still be online, and I don't know.
Where are you going? Where are you going this weekend?
Lake Havasu.
Okay.
Ever heard of it?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a party river in Arizona, California border-ish.
You have friends who used to live there, so you're gonna meet them there?
Yeah, my girlfriend's friends rented a house and have a boat and have stuff planned, and we're gonna tag along.
That'd be fun.
So
I've heard stories. I never like. I don't.
I've never been either, but I heard stories about like there's tons of topless girls all the time in the river, and like
Same thing. Okay.
Arizona and California girls are the best girls. So in the U.S., maybe not in the world, but
I certainly can't disagree with that. The California, it's like I feel like with California girls, it's all like the top girls from all the places go to California. So like you get this mixture of all the best girls from like Idaho or it's bad example. Nebraska or in San Diego, and they're in California, they're in LA. It's just.
I know a lot of good girls from Montana. I don't know anybody from Idaho, but Montana. So just like pick a random state, and the best girls are coming to California.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, Lake Havasu is apparently insane. I don't know. It seems like 2013, 2012 Joey would have had a good time there.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah. Oh shit. Ooh. Yeah. After post rage time, I think when I met you, I was like all poker all the time.
This is right before you went to Australia.
Oh, I was like hardcore then.
Yeah, this is when like I think you were living with Stinger, and this is when you start. This is when you started getting really good.
Yeah,
transitioning from being like a mass tabler to a crusher.
Oh, that was at the beginning of the year. That was in January, and then I lived with Stinger in September. But we still hung out. We started hanging out like in November of the previous year.
Yeah,
or something like that.
So this is later that year then. Yeah.
Yeah, I decided to stop. Turns out, Ryan, if you're 24 tabling PLO and like not really losing that much, you're gonna end up winning a lot when you. Who would have thought? Like, who would have thought this, right? Like, who would have thought if you could handle a game? I'm such an idiot. I wish I would. That was the smartest thing I've done in my entire life was stop 24 tabling.
Well, I remember this specifically. You had to get Supernova Elite, but you were way behind. And then October you grinded really hard, and then November you were like, you posted a blog like, yeah, I decided to not grind this hard this month and like concentrate on winning money because I know I'm going to lose a lot in December when I'm 24 tabling like 16 hours a day. And you're like, I won a bunch of money this month, and I was in like 4 or 6 tabling and game selecting.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after December, you got like buried on the tables, but then ended up winning so much from the Supernova Elite that you were like, why don't I just go back to 4 tabling? And you'd like immediately make it back to 50, 100 and just like 500K upswing, right?
Yeah, I made like 100K the first month, and I was like, turns out this was a good fucking idea to do this.
Yeah, let's just play less tables.
Yeah, when you 4 table. And then my Achilles was, of course, when I mixed business with pleasure, but I also played more tables.
Yeah.
Like that, I just went back to it for some unknown reason. I started like 16 tabling 5100 to 1020 at the same time. I'm just like,
yeah, that was,
you know, you're having 12 buy-in session, you lose 125,000. I mean, it's like,
yeah. Well, also like I remember April and May, Guy was all over the place, right? And you were in the Guy games.
He played some 50. I played a little bit of 51 with him. Yeah.
Right. Once Guy left, like all the regs were rich, and the games were instantly tougher.
Yeah, I think during September, I initially went on I made like 250, and then I celebrated. That was the bad thing. That was a celebration. Yeah. I mixed that. That's when I met the bad people in Vancouver. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
And then I kept playing, and you're obviously not thinking clear-headed at all.
Yeah.
You don't hear out of your fucking mind. You like lose money. You're like, I want it back now. You know. Plus, like you're on such a high. I was on such a massive upswing at that point in time, and I'm just, you know, I'm convinced I can do no wrong. I'm obviously running extremely well, and everything I'm doing, you know, all my approaches I was taking with my sessions was just I always played really, really short sessions.
Yeah.
So that way I could kind of like get in the games, play like pretty aggro.
I like that.
Or play pretty tight sometimes. Like I would switch up styles, so I'd play pretty tight. I'd play really aggro sometimes, and you know, if you
still got in a lot of hours per day, right? Like
a ton.
Yeah. But you were just like, I'm gonna play for half an hour and play with my best, and then bolt, and then come back, play an hour and a half, bolt.
Yeah, I found that I've always do my best whenever I've taken that approach.
Yeah.
So it's, and I think it's kind of like, really, I mean, this is kind of actually poker strategy, but if anyone watched this long, I'm going to give you this. So I would do this a lot where I would just bring a different style every time I'd play. So what happens is the regulars just can't, like they like one day you're very aggro, one day you might be 3-betting a lot, one day you might just be calling a lot pre-flop, one day you might be raising 30% more button. Like I would just do different things each session sometimes, and then
that was good in 2012. It's not 2016. It's more unexploitive, like GTO play.
At PLO, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure in terms of how that would work on stars right now, that strategy. I think it's still like a good thing because people are still playing your stats. They're still playing, especially at Zoom. So let's say they have you as a 31-22 with a 12% 3-bet. Well, if one day you just start playing 25-15 with a 4% 3-bet, they're assuming your 3-bet percentage is 12%. Now all of a sudden your 3-bet is only aces when they're like, that's what I mean. So you throw in these random nitty sessions of times against players, and then they're just naturally, even the stats to this, they're going to have that in their mind that you've been doing that. So it's
all right. So imagine so say you had like the GTO pre-flop solution, right? And it was something like, I don't know, 28, 18, 10. Right?
PLO.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you had like everything worked out. And then one day you switched up your strategy to be tighter. Aren't you just giving up profitable hands? Even though,
sorry, Cosmo, no one's watching. I'm gonna fucking say it. Okay, I don't care.
Even though like you might be gaining a little more with some of your hands based on, I don't know. I feel like you're just giving up profitable hands and like.
See, I think maybe short term you are, but long term you're able to develop an image and you're able to take advantage of your image better against a lot of other players. And obviously this is like where the whole entire you being able to understand what someone thinks you're doing and then being able to exploit that. And because if you ramp up your aggression one day and you feel like certain players are now fighting back a little bit lighter than you, well then it's on you to be able to adjust better than that. But some players aren't going to be fighting back at you at all. So then it's, you know, now when this guy fights back, you're not just like every guy that's fighting back is always weak. Well, this type of player only has aces. And I think that's sort of the trick is when you go from this tight style to a really aggressive style, you don't want to overestimate the type of adjustments that your opponents are making because then you're going to be making wrong decisions. And I got pretty good at doing that because there's some days I just 3-bet 17%. I just go crazy, and then like they have you as a 10%, 8% three. Like they, you know what? It's just very. So then you never really know what you're gonna get, and that's what those short sessions work well because sometimes they don't know what style you're playing. Sometimes you might just start, 2-3 barreling certain players in some spots who you know that they're have a tendency to overfold, and you might just go overboard on it, and then they call you down, and then they're like, oh, what the fuck's this guy doing? And then you can adjust against that. I mean, it's like, I think at No Limit it's not as possible anymore because it's so. There's so many of these, the GTO solvers out there, and there's so many of.
Right, and I feel like in PLO there's more. A lot of situations are closer between like 3-bet or call. Like you can 3-bet. Trying to think of a situation where like say hijack raises and you're in the cutoff and you 3-bet some like dog shit double suited hand, right?
Let's literally right. anything,
and are you really giving up that much edge by doing it versus folding or calling?
You could even argue sometimes you showing down that hand is hugely plus CV. Like I would 3-bet 4 random cards on the button and then just get to showdown on purpose. Now, if someone think about it, if you're in the cutoff and the psychotic person's just 3-betting 4 random cards on the button, sometimes just get to it just does it just makes you that much more to think about.
You like get in their head and then all of a sudden they pot in the cutoff. You're like, I wonder what you have. You've been like waiting for this situation. Like you think I'm going to 3-bet anything, and then you just have aces or king. Yeah,
exactly. That's kind of, and plus you just put them in so many tough spots because they're not some people just never 4-bet, so they call 3-bet, call 3-bet, they call 3-bet. Then you're balancing your range in this fucking crazy way where sometimes
this is the strategy you can implement on anonymous Bovada tables where like you do something really insane like your first orbit at the table. And then you just calm down and like.
I'm gonna be putting my Bovada graph out soon, and I'm gonna tell you that's certainly one of the things I like to do. Okay?
Yeah.
My Bovada graph is very, very, very sick. So I'm excited to finally share it with the world once Bovada officially dies here, and I guess Ignition. But I'm probably not gonna play as much poker, so it's not gonna be my main future source of income. So I don't mind sharing with the world what the Bovada games were really like because, that's exactly what you do. Is you sit down you just fucking 3-bet a random hand. I mean, that's what I always do. You 3-bet a random hand in the cutoff, 3-bet a random hand on the button, and then if you don't get the showdown, it's cool. But if you do, it's not the worst thing. And plus on Bovada, it's so much tougher because you don't know the player's post-flop tendencies. So when you call a 3-bet out of position, you have no idea what your guy his tendencies are, and c-betting, what he's checking back, what he's delayed c-betting. So the standard just has to be to fold.
Yeah.
You can't be like, I'm going to take a stand here. You don't have enough information. So you have to check fold so much. And that just gives you such a huge edge as the new player in position because there's nothing you can do. You can't be like, all right, I'm just going to check raise the 8-high flush draw with bottom pair here because it's just not going to be without a read. Without a read, I'm going to fold. That's usually the default.
Right.
So I love, man. You play Bovada at all? You play any of the NL games?
Yeah. I mean, poker started getting hard for me in the end of 2012. So after Black Friday, I just consistently crushed stars for like another year. And then the end of 2012, it started getting a little harder. And then 2013, I just started playing on Bovada. So I played there for 2013, 2014. And then once I jumped into DFS, I was just like, I haven't really played much since.
Yeah,
I still play time to time, but yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, Bovada games just aren't real. It's not like real poker. It's kind of like it's a version of poker, but I don't consider it as it's
no. There's certain situations where you're like you can't do certain things that you know are correct just because it's like a joke. Yeah.
Right. So you don't need to, it's one, you don't need to really ramp your variance in some spots. Right. Two, you don't necessarily have enough information a lot of times to know to make a very concrete and confident decision in some spots. So you just have to err on the side of caution till you know better, but you don't know better a lot because you just never get to the point where you know better. And it's kind of boring, but I don't know. It's kind of fun to figure out the intricacies of the anonymous dynamic.
It's fun to make money.
Yeah.
It's fun to win.
I guess so. Non-stop says if you can just 3-bet a random hand button versus cutoff, it just means that the cutoff plays a bad strategy. He doesn't need to take a stand to combat it. He should combat it naturally.
Well, I mean, you were basically doing it just to show it down and not give up too much edge. Like you're losing a little bit, but you're not losing that much.
from like a stars where you can see the screen perspective. But even on Bovada, I mean,
Right.
you're usually three betting it just because it's so plus EV. You're just winning so much. You're just winning so often in that spot. You're just
Yeah.
I
mean,
it's just so profitable. Yeah.
that's why you can't really open more than like 25% in the cutoff against good button.
In theory. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, my Bovada, I think my Bovada stats at PLO were like 41, 31.
In the cutoff?
No, total.
Oh.
So my button is like probably like 80, 85.
Yeah.
My cutoff.
85?
Listen, this okay. So
Oh, that was button.
but yeah, I mean PLO 4 cards.
Right.
So once again, it kind of goes back. They only know your sample over, let's say, how many buttons you get. So let's say you get 6 buttons. So if you open 4 buttons, I mean, sample size, you might open 5 sometimes, you might open 4, you might open 3, you might open 6. They can't really come back. Like, they can't just start 3-betting the small blind light now because they don't know, like, they don't really exactly know your range. They don't know your tendencies post-flop. And so the blinds can't really start going after you, whereas if somebody knows you're open 85% of buttons over a period of time, now they just start attacking you, and they know your ranges are wider. They can check call you on the flop, check call you on the turn. So it's you're not incentivized to open as many buttons, whereas all those things go out the window on Bovada. So it's like they don't know your turn frequencies. They don't know what your range is on pre-flop, so that your turn range is going to be really wide when you see bet. So it's like too much strat. I love this, man. I like talking. I like talking strat.
Well, we can talk strat now because it's going to die in a month, and like nobody's going to hop on. And
yeah, I mean, Ignition will still run. I feel like I wish I played. I only played poker maybe last August or no, September, October, November a little bit, and I took December. I got a girlfriend for a while, so I took off like 2 months. I dedicated 1 week last year in California. I played 1 week straight in San Diego hotel room, and I made 90,000. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a couple months off now.
That was on Bovada?
Oh yeah. I thought I could make $1 million on that site. Let's put it like that. If I just played poker for 1 year, I could make $1 million on Bovada. Like there's so many games, and I mean, I don't know, but
there's a lot of good regulars on there. Like,
could be.
Well, they take breaks though. Like if you can time when you play around, like, actually if you play over the World Series, I think that's probably the best time to play.
So I did, and what happened is there's a lot of Europeans that are on there now, and I'm almost positive there's bots on there because there's one guy that plays 53-34 with the same exact stats on 4 tables for the last 7 months straight. So it would always average out to that over 30 to 40 hands at the table, and I thought it was the same person. Like, this, like, has to be something 2 months into it, but he's been doing it for months straight. The same.
That's a weird bot though. Like, well, that's very loose for a bot.
It's literally the same stat. I'm like, trust me, I'm not some paranoid fucking freak who's like going around thinking about. I never think about this stuff because there's no point in it. But the guy's been playing the exact same fucking stats, and like, I can't really you think someone playing 50% of their hands and opening 34% of their hands, you can maybe win some money for them in some spots, but the guy's not giving up money in some spots, and
right.
You know, he's probably watching now. Whatever, man. You know, I know you're bot. I don't fucking care. You know what's funny? This slick motherfucker. Then he started talking about being a bot in the chat. I'm like, no way. Yes. No way. It's like the sickest, because he'd always be like, fucking pussy in the chat. Like, he'd say things no one in 2016 that's winning plays over 50% VPIP would ever say these things in the chat. Like, oh, cocksucking motherfucker. I'm like, what is this guy talking? No good player ever says this stuff anymore. No one that can profitably play 54-32 is ever going to say these things. Like, you're not, like, right. You're no one.
Actually, one of my buddies plays high stakes on Bovada, and he's kind of has like the Dan Coleman mindset where he wants to like talk shit to his opponents.
Well, listen, I'm sure I know who it is. So I'm gonna ask him, and if he tells me it's him, then fine. Like, okay, like, I want it to be him.
I don't know. 53-34 is really loose, though. I don't know if he's that loose.
Right, it's the weirdest stat, and like, it's every session, every time, like. And now there are these bots on there that limp under the gun. They just limp under the gun. They don't limp anywhere else but under the gun. And there'll be like 3 people at a table doing it. I'm like, what the fuck is, like, queen 4-2 no suits. I'm like, what is happening?
I was gonna say I could see limping some king's hands under the gun where you don't want to get 3-bet and you don't want to, like,
I thought so
fold
too.
Either.
No,
but
these guys' range just absolutely makes no sense. And sometimes there'll be 2 or 3 guys at the table doing it. And I'm just like, what? And And there's a guy they do bet sizing on there, instant bet sizing of odd sizes. There's no hotkeys that I'm aware
Oh
of.
yeah. So they can slide it. You can slide it and
Right.
like bet a weird cent amount, but they're clearly like doing the same amount every time.
Yeah, it's like every single time with some sort of I've tried moving it that fast myself. It's not possible. I'm pretty fast at doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've never said these. Listen, whatever, fine. Change your fucking bot, guys. Come on. Why are you guys limping under the gun with the goddamn bot? It just doesn't make sense. So I like playing against them though. Like I enjoy the challenge. So I enjoy playing against them. Like there'd be five guys I suspect as bots at a table. I'm in for the challenge.
Yeah.
The fun players to my left, sure. Not the GTO seat, but
Yeah.
let's play. So.
Well, the bots, I did hear from Touche actually that bots were winning on 510 PLO for a while, which on stars, which blew my mind.
Well, they were the top winners at 1-2 and 2-4.
Yeah.
And some of them were 1-2 Zoom. I think the one guy, Fedor, played 510 too. He was suspected as being a bot, I believe, as well.
I remember that guy. I always thought he was fucking fishy. Like
Fedor.
something fishy about his
Zavsis or something.
Yeah.
He played a long time. I think he played in NL for a long time, yeah.
He was one of the biggest winners back when I played. I mean,
He suspected him as being the bot leader.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. So
that was right when I started having trouble in the games. Like I was like, this guy, something weird about this account.
Well, think about it, right? If there are these PLO bots crushing 1-2 and 2-4 PLO on stars, you're telling me these guys haven't taken over No Limit Hold'em? I mean, these guys have to be all over. Like they must have been around for a long time too.
I remember back when there were guys who basically just played exactly what Snowy told them to play, and they were winning. And 6 max, right? Snowy's not anything compared to like
how some of them could be, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like some of the real dream machines. What was that? PO solver? Is that what it is? PO
there's
solver?
a bunch now, man. There's a bunch, but I think it's almost naive to assume that these guys aren't at No Limit Hold'em actively right now. It'd be insane to say that. How could I don't think anyone could possibly say that confidently.
Right. Like how is a bot not just taking over like the hypers and the
Well, I mean that's his own thing, I believe. That's something that a hyper heads up, I believe. That might be a situation going on now where they're kind of talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be like bots would play it perfect and it's completely solved and they're never going to make a mistake.
I guess that's a good thing about PLO and mixed games is that in theory you can't really play those as a bot. Thing.
I would imagine that bots are really good at stud. But
there was like the Chinese incident
yeah,
or something like that, right? Yeah.
Right, but like 08 and a couple other games, they're probably much worse than humans.
Probably no one's invested much time into them.
Yeah, they're dead games. Like they don't have action. Yeah.
Like Limit Hold'em, obviously that's pretty much a solved game sort of thing with the bot. So.
Right, and like a triple draw, didn't that German guy solve it or solve heads up?
Tech loss or something like that?
No, the King German like.
Oh yeah. You're right. Reagan or some shit like that.
Reagan, yeah.
Reagan or one of those guys. Yeah, allegedly came in with some sick Dream Machine software sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's this guy? I'm having the one guy on Alex Luneau, Alexo on Moon.
He
was in the documentary.
Mid-stakes PLO player.
No, he's he's like an N boss like triple draw guy or something. He's the one that battled Gus Hansen all the time at the high stakes limit.
I mistook him for somebody else. No. I was thinking of Alex Manzo.
Oh, yeah, it's Alexo. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
PLO.
That guy. One of my buddies used to play high stakes triple draw, and I remember Lino always battling, like really high stakes.
Yeah.
Like he would cover one game, and then Cottonseed would cover like 08, right? And they would always like
they had something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm having him on the pod next Friday. I busted him in the 10K PLO. So we talked for a while. So I'm like, I should get him on the pod. He seemed like a nice, like obviously he's a boss. I mean, he's like French guy just crushing, and I mean, yeah. So he seemed like a pretty interesting guy to me.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to watch. See, like I personally wouldn't watch myself, but I love watching like I'm gonna love Evan Silva and Adam Levitan. I'm gonna love like the French poker player, like all the businessmen. Like that's what I find interesting.
Wish
Like the
there's
grinders are. I mean, like we're a dime a dozen, right? I mean, we have our way to add value to people, but for other grinders, it's like other grinders aren't watching my pod.
Maybe.
Maybe just because if they want to learn about DFS or something. But yeah.
Well, now we've already talked too fucking long, so no. I mean, people are gonna see the
nobody's
length.
listening anymore.
People are gonna see the length of this. They're like, oh my god, what the fuck, 3 hours?
I watched every minute of Bill Perkins when he was like 3 hours and 10 minutes. Like,
well, that was the best. That was the best podcast on the internet right now.
Yeah.
That was like literally the best podcast on the internet right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Every moment, I'm just like.
I know. That's what I said, dude. It was insane. Like he's like talking. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, how is he saying this stuff? Like, where's he even? Like, where? Like, I think it's Choice Center. I honestly like a blend of Choice Center and just insane knowledge.
You know, like Sorrell tried to get me to go to Choice Center back in the day, and I was like, man, it is a cult. I'm not doing that garbage. And you know, I'm starting to consider it. And I've been the biggest skeptic for 5+ years, and I don't know, man. Maybe if Bill Perkins, I'm on the Bill Perkins train. If it's good for Bill Perkins, it's good for me.
I gotta be honest with you. I agree, man. He's just, you know, it's kind of funny. I tried to imagine him like 5 years ago because it wasn't recently until he got with Dan Bilzerian and he started doing the world traveling, getting with all the women. I mean, he even said Choice Center really helped him out too. So I try to, you know, obviously he's a billionaire. Anyone that gets to be an alleged billionaire close to that has to be, you know, if you do some research on his backstory, he worked for one of the best guys in that field down in Texas. So he kind of came up through him and a couple other guys. And
then he started his own hedge fund and you're just printing, right? Yeah.
Right, so he crushed before that, and then he started his own thing too. Once the guy, I think, kind of quit.
Yeah. That's the thing about trading, man. Like it's not like if you're making X at 2.4, you can't make 5X at 10.20. But in trading, you can make 5X when you move up, right? Like, so when you're the end boss, you're just really fucking printing.
He certainly do. It seems like he's doing well.
Yeah.
So people said, why don't you get more Bill Perkins on? I'm like, you know, don't only 300 of those motherfuckers out there. You know, it's like not many be with the billionaires out there floating around.
There's a couple like. Do you remember back in the day a No Limit player named Much Better?
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
A picture of a horse. He was a Brazilian businessman who like was in port business, and I think he was allegedly a billionaire, and he was just the nicest guy, and like such, I don't know, stories like that are so interesting. It's like they play poker, but they do all this other stuff.
There's a couple guys I want to try to get on in the future, like David Einhorn. I think he's is he, Oracle or something.
I just know him from like he's famous for shorting stuff, like really really big shorts. Yeah.
There's him. There's it's a Facebook guy. I don't know his name. I'd like to meet him. Jason Kalikanakis guy or something. No, is that his name?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know. I gotta read more about all this stuff. I have a list of things that I'm like trying that I want to learn, and it's just so long, and I don't know how to get. There's not enough hours. Like that's why I don't want to be like chained to a computer doing like 40 hours of DFS a week when I want like all this stuff I want to learn, all the stuff I want to do.
That's what I've been doing this past 4 weeks, man. Ever since I was like, all right, I'm gonna start up the GTO club, focus more on the website, focus more on building up podcast, and get out of this poker mindset.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you write a blog this week. I want to see how you do. I think you're gonna crush.
I'm gonna write a blog
on the Steam site on Steam. I want to see how your introductory post does. You can like, because I don't have like, I mean, I have a Twitter following, but they're mostly just like poker players and MMA fans, and they just kind of like see my info and just kind of dismiss it. They don't really like retweet. But you get like, people care about what you're doing. So I feel like you sign up for this and people will flock.
We could do it. I'm in. I want to try it out.
Because it's free, man. It's like you don't have to put in a dime, and you just like you
touting for these guys? You an affiliate? You touting right now for these guys?
You get paid for content. And like, no, I just want more people on it. I think it's such a cool. Like, I don't.
How much you own? How much you own, kid?
Right now, I have like 1,500 worth of it. Okay. So like, I put a Bitcoin in, and the rest was just money I earned on the site, just like grinding up. But the Bitcoin I put in, I lost because I put the Bitcoin in early and it dropped since then. So it's not. I would say don't invest. Just see what you can do on the site. See what kind of following you can build. Just do your blogging there. Cross post your blogging there.
Is it Tor only, or is it?
What do you mean?
Can you only access it on Tor, or is it?
No, I open it on my webpage.
Oh, okay.
On Google Chrome.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was. You said it was like not no one censored it. No one did anything on there, so I wasn't sure.
It's just because it's a decentralized network. There's no central agency that governs it. It's like built on a blockchain, like Bitcoin. So like instead of just the transactions going on Bitcoin, like all the writing and the blogs are going on the blockchain too. So, yeah. So it's not censored. You can post whatever you want. You can upvote whatever you want, and
sick, man. I'm gonna check it out.
Well, it's like, why wouldn't people have been on Reddit for years posting gold advice and not getting shit for it? Like imagine if like Bill Murray posted his Ask Me Anything on Steam and everybody joins and upvotes it and gets like, you could even get 6 figures. Like,
so what's the downside for people doing this then?
So well, obviously for people like us, like time is valuable. Like some of the blogs I write get like 50 cents in rewards. So like it's kind of a gamble. Like I wrote a blog last night, like teaching like a math series that I learned in college, and like it's getting like $15. Like you don't always make a lot of money, but you do make more than you would on other sites. And there's a big luck element involved, because like the people who have a ton of shares on the site, their upvotes are worth a ton. Mm-hmm. I'm probably like the 97th percentile of ownership on the site, and my upvote's worth very little. So it's like the top 100 people have a lot of power, and outside of that, it's not too much power for people.
I'm gonna try to run it up on this motherfucker, man. I got some good posts. I turned into a good writer with studying all this content writing, man. I'm ready to run it up on this site.
And it's not just your writing. I mean, like you can post links to your podcast. Like I interviewed Bill Perkins. Here's the podcast. See what happens. Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
I like that idea. All right, let's wrap this goddamn thing up, man. We're going for a long time.
I don't want to set any records here. No.
Well, that one's long. That's the Fedor one. We got drunk and things happened. Cosmo, have to ask
Cosmo's in the chat the whole time.
Listen, Cosmo, I love Cosmo, man. Kids fucking shows out, man. Kids shows love. I like Cosmo a lot. He's probably sitting on his couch right now.
He's probably sitting at a live poker table at the new Palomar, or whatever the San Diego casino is.
Is there a new one?
I heard Palomar went under, and there's a different one. I don't know. I don't play live poker, so I don't know what's going on.
Start up a new one? What a new
I know he used to play Palomar, and now there's people play it.
I love how Palomar just goes out of business. I mean, it didn't make much sense. You ever been there?
Well, no, I mean,
it's in like middle of the. It's like a random fucking building with like 5 tables. It didn't make sense why it was ever existed. It didn't make sense. When it got shut down, I'm like, I'm not surprised. It's in like a Burger King fucking place. It's just there.
Yeah.
Don't make sense. Don't make sense, man. Don't make sense. 7 Mile. Oh, he's a 7 Mile. Chula Vista. I thought that one was old.
Well, I mean, the one that probably took up all the business that Palomar lost when it went under.
7 Mile, yeah. Surprised Viffer. Oh, Viffer's living in Vegas now, yeah. You watch that pod?
No, I haven't. Should I? Good one?
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Entertaining, for sure.
All right.
Whatever you thought about Viffer being crazy? Nah, you have not.
Doesn't Viffer have a kid now?
Yeah. He had a kid the day before. Yeah.
Actually, Dave, Make It Rain, had a kid the same day as Viffer did, and he's like we're like intertwined from now on, me and Viffer.
Good guy to be intertwined with, man. He told this great story about rehab. He told a story where he was on meth. He accidentally took meth, and he was awake for 5 days straight.
Accidentally took meth?
I don't know. Some girl gave him some drugs, thought it was cocaine, took meth. Then he started taking more meth, got arrested, got evicted from his house.
All right, you sold it. I'm watching.
Was awake for 5 days and slept for 30 days straight. Yeah. And he said he also played a 72,000 hand poker session on PokerStars before over 3 days.
72,000?
Yeah, I was like, wait. I thought I played the most hands in one session, but I guess
72,000.
Allegedly.
I mean, allegedly. I remember back in the day when Razi played 48,000. He was trying to play 50, and by like hand 46,000, he like blacked out, and we just like doing crazy, like going all in blind.
That's weak. You know, I play 50,000 hands straight, right?
Yeah.
I won 43 buy-ins, man. I've been blacking out. Come on, man.
No, he blacked out. He blacked out and like
Pussy.
went crazy.
Did he really?
Yeah. Halfway, like 90% through the session, he went crazy and had to quit. And
There's nothing I love more than a blacked out, deranged fucking Lex on the prowl, man.
yeah.
He's hilarious, man. Dave said, Joey, do you know the Sean Khan Biffer story? Of course I know the story. I just didn't fucking ask him about the story, okay? I don't want to bring that up. That makes sense. You know what the story?
No. Oh, what? Is it on the pod?
Mm-mm. I didn't bring it up. Allegedly, there was a casino in L.A. and Biffer was playing, and I guess Sean Khan came up and may have
Just hit him?
May have gave him some hit. Nah, I mean, more than a couple.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Not something I really wanted to bring up with him on the pod.
No, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's the full story, if that's exactly what happened or not. Whatever. I don't want to.
Who would want to hit Biffer? He's like.
I'm sure he got out of line. I'm sure he said something.
Yeah.
He's like maybe fuck the guy. I don't know. I think I know. I think I remember. I know why.
Oh, maybe that's why.
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. I don't think that's why though. So.
Yeah.
Twitch stream, most hands played hype. Yeah, I wish Twitch was around. Or I wish Twitch was around when I did that prop bet. I did on Justin TV. I would have had like fucking 35,000 people watching me or something at the end of that. That would have been glorious.
Dude, I remember. Well, I don't think this was the 50,000 hand session, but this was like December 20th of that month when you're like trying to get Supernova Elite, and you played like what 400,000 hands that month.
That was PLO. Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah. No, I remember like December 20th. You put out this video of you playing, and like you were like halfway out of it and halfway into it, and you're just talking about what's happening, and then halfway in you start ranting about Boris 316 or Boris 313. And you're like, oh,
I hate that motherfucker, dude.
I hate you, motherfucker. If we ever meet in real life, we're fighting. You might kick my ass. I might kick your ass. I don't know what's gonna happen, but somebody's getting his ass kicked. I don't like you. And then you called out somebody else. I was like, holy shit, this guy is. Joe's intense right now.
I still hate that motherfucker, by the way. Boris 313, that motherfucker, dude. I always had it, man.
Yeah.
I always had it. Short stacking, always ran so good. I'm like, why the fuck don't you full stack? You run so good, dude.
Yeah.
I think I busted him up later when we moved up stakes, though, so it's okay.
Yeah, you got revenge.
Like I got him when I gotta hate that motherfucker. So I mean, I only hate like two people. Him and Phil Helmuth. That's it. I like everybody else.
Did Helmuth do something or is it just?
Give me the big time Barry. Yeah. Big time Barry. Yeah, you know. Yeah. It's okay. All right. Yeah. We'll get him back one day. Yeah. We're gonna be more big time than him. Give me like 12 years. I'm gonna do it, man. I don't care. That's my mission. No, I don't think it'd be possible. He's at a big level.
Yeah, he is.
So, all right.
You gotta start wearing a JI hat.
Yeah. Listen, don't let me do that, okay? I can wear a poker life hat.
Don't let me turn into a narcissist, please.
I'm not wearing a JI goddamn hat, man.
Yeah.
Last comment here, Dave. Hey, Dave Rickson. Hey, Daut, I remember on your blog you were commenting how Limit Hold'em made you feel. You had a picture of you holding a baseball bat in front of an LCD TV.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, no, so the story was the first day of like 2009, I decided, saw, what's his name? Bryce. Remember him? Yeah. I saw his Limit Hold'em graph just like straight up. And I was like, I'm going to play Limit Hold'em. I want to see where it takes me. So the first day I played like 1,000 hands of heads up and 1,000 hands of six max. And I was just unbelievably tilted by the end of the day. I think I lost 1,000 playing heads up and I won 1,000 playing six max. And I broke even. I didn't play Limit Hold'em again. I was like, I'm done. No more Limit Hold'em. Actually, the first month I had full tilt Red Pro, I was like, I think I'll make the most just playing Limit Hold'em. So I 8-tabled 5-10 and 10-20 Limit Hold'em, lost like 1,500 playing and made like 20K in rake back. And I was like, this isn't a life for me. I'm gonna do something where I make money.
It's not like you're making money to me, buddy. I don't know.
No, I wanted to actually make money playing though. Like I didn't want to be that guy, like fucking rake back grinder in 2008.
You had the 100% rake back account, right? Woo.
Yeah. So the first month, I lost a little bit of money and made the most I ever made in rake back on the site. But I wanted to concentrate on winning money.
Wow. If I had a 100% rakeback account, they would be kicking me off the team. I'd be using that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for certain, man. Joe, can we see the dance off with you? Can we see the video of you in the dance off with the black woman in the parking lot? The ones where you are wearing swimsuit shorts. There's no video of that. Just photos of that. It was at King of Diamonds strip club in Miami. Me and Brawl Cup. You met Brad, right? Did you meet Brad? Rest in peace, R.I.P. Brad.
No. I remember when he passed though.
Yeah.
I never met him though. I visited you in Vancouver right after he moved out, and you were like getting ready to move out, and he left already.
Yeah, that was
your place together, right? Right on whatever that road was.
Early in the year, yeah. That was in January, yeah. That was on Burrard. That was the first place I lived in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I like that little place. A nice place.
Yeah, you had a really nice spot, like right on the street too. You can just like walk out and.
It was $6,000 a month. It better be fucking nice.
Oh my god, Jesus.
Dude, I moved there with negative $5,000 bankroll, and we got this $6,000. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this money back, no problem.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I hadn't played on
I just need to get elite.
Yeah, it was before that. Before I was like, all right, I'm gonna play like 50-cent dollar, and I can make this easily. Yeah. And then I'd make like $3,000. I'd have to pay the rent, and I'm like, well.
Oh shit.
And then I couldn't get ahead, and then I'm like, well, and then I made the Super Bowl prep bet, and that's sort of
spark plug, dude.
Thank God. What a great. I mean, just doing something like that. You do that, you feel like you can do anything, man.
Yeah.
You accomplish something that crazy.
No amount of willpower.
Yeah, for real, man.
No amount of heart.
Ree Garrett says, I was a rakeback whore in Florida. What does that mean?
In Florida? Was he a prop player?
Live pro?
Live pro prop player? Maybe. I don't know.
Lived in Florida playing on Stars? I'm not sure. Dave says, Joey, keep making them gains. Yes, sir, man. I'm my diet's upped. Working with my trainer.
I'll just watch one of your other pods to find out, because it's gonna go forever if I start asking you about fitness stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, like what are you eating? Like calorie wise, like are you making your meals? Are you getting like deliveries?
I think my macros right now are little low 4 carbs, 200 protein, 90-ish fat.
Okay. So that's 8, 10...
Like 33-ish.
So 33-ish, yeah. And like...
Breakfast, oatmeal, lunch, usually 8-ounce chicken with either rice and or black beans and a vegetable. That again, so it's usually like 3 bags of rice, 3 things of rice, and 2 servings of oatmeal, so 3 packets twice.
Okay.
With yogurt mixed in, and either chicken or salmon, and then almonds and protein shakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your protein shakes are like just protein and milk, or
just protein and water.
Oh, okay. I don't like that.
I just make myself do it. Yeah. Yeah.
I put a bunch of stuff like fruit and banana and peanut butter.
I could do that. Yeah. I used to do that, but now I'm taking my protein shake right after my workout. So I'm just
you need it right away.
Fast. Yeah. And then I'm starting with my trainer with my workouts, and he put together this like very sick thing for me. Yeah. So it's a guy I had on the podcast actually.
Well, who was it?
Mike Vacanti is his name.
Okay, I'll check that one out.
Oh yeah, he like done a bunch of training for people who are super and boss at life. So yeah, he was good. But yeah, he put me on a bunch of stuff, and hardest part's eating, man. You know that. Hardest part's
No, not for me. I can eat all day.
Eat like healthy. You know what I mean? Like eat healthy.
Yeah. So what I do is I order these meal services that deliver like 12 500 calorie meals a week. They're pretty balanced.
Smart.
They're low carb though, but I eat a lot of like fruit outside of that. So I feel like I get my carbs outside and then eat those for my meals. So I end up eating like 2,700 a day, I would guess. But yeah, I guess that's why I don't ever put on size. I just kind of like maintain.
By the way, I've really never really eaten over 2,200 calories basically regularly.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to eat 3,000, I can already tell I'm just gonna balloon up sort of thing. So I don't know. I don't want to get.
That's the thing. It's like you can't ever be in the bulking and the cutting phase at the same time. You can't ever be like losing body fat while getting bigger kind of phase. So
especially with basketball, or especially with anything cardio wise, you can't really put in that that intense cardio, because then you're sort of like draining the gains off, and it's
Yeah.
Marco said, "Do I find it boring?" Yes, I do. It's
Yeah.
it's not boring to. It's not boring to eat the food. It's just I'm not used to eating the food. It's just tough to eat the food, and I don't really like food that much. So that's sort of the hardest part. I like A1 steak sauce, so I got this A1 steak sauce. I put on everything, but
Yeah.
that makes it better. I just don't like food, so it's not. Yeah. Who would win a prop bet between you two? Most chin-ups. I'm gonna go Ryan. I'm pretty sure because he's sick.
Rock climbing.
He's sick. Yeah, he's sick GTO rock climbing now. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Ryan's gonna take anything with.
Just pull-ups probably, yeah, but maybe not. Maybe I don't know. You might.
I have a prop bet with Daniel Negreanu. It's a best of 4, I think now. Well, it's gonna be hard to do, but pull-ups, push-ups, planks and squats, body weight.
Like plank time for
Plank
one
time.
plank.
Yeah, plank time. Yeah.
And it's like individual, like they don't add together. So if you win,
individual. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank God, because that would be.
yeah.
Listen, if I lose to Daniel fucking Negreanu at this, I'm like, I gotta retire, Buppy. I mean, I know he's a grinder. He's got work ethic. I gotta say, kid's got heart. Obviously, he's got a lot of heart and work ethic. So yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna lose the pull up or the push up.
I don't see how I could possibly lose push-ups. I like demolish push-ups.
I could see you losing planks if he's been like specifically training those and built up to like a 4-minute plank over time. But
I was thinking about that too. I think I'm probably just gonna build up just to build it up. And then
Yeah.
squats. I'm pretty sure I squat a ton now.
you use your legs, yeah. And
Yeah, I mean, I squat a lot
you're not
now
losing that.
for basketball. So it's
You're not losing that.
I don't know, man. DNegs like low key fit, playing a lot of soccer. He's obviously got he's fired up, got a lot of confidence.
Right. Yeah, and he doesn't need to grind that much, so he's got a lot of time to stay in shape and
Kind of like incentivize you to like. I made I made 12 workout prop bets since the Perkins podcast.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, so I must work out 4 to 5 days a week with like 6 people. So I'm essentially free rolling all these people. I
Right.
told them all this. I'm like, I'm never not doing this.
Right. That's like the Fedor bet. Like if Fedor bet you 1K to win 3K, he wins.
Yeah.
But if he bets you 3K to win 9K or bigger, you're not going to give in. You'll find a way to succeed.
It's like dumb. Yeah. It's like you want to like.
You're not going to lose to 6 people. Like you're just going to go in every day. That's
right.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stack them. So I'm gonna make a dunk prop bet with Raptor.
All right. How long is your wingspan?
I can touch rim with 2 hands on top. I did it today. I can like grab rim and get over rim with both hands.
And can you palm basketball?
No, like almost.
So that almost might be the hardest factor, because like when I was in high school, like I've never been a great jumper, but I could dunk a baseball, and I like a basketball would just fly out of my hand when I would like get up there. And you're taller with longer arms and probably can jump better now. So like you will be closer to dunking, but you still need to be able to control the ball as it goes over, right?
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, I guess I've studied a lot of jumping stuff to help. I can GTOify my form, and then if I just get stronger with my legs and start actually training for jumping specifically, I think that I could dunk in like 3 months.
I think you'll be able to dunk very very quickly with a ball you can palm, but dunking a basketball that you can't palm.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
A little bit hard.
Yeah,
a little bit harder. I would say like within 2 weeks, with the amount you've been playing, you said you've been squatting a lot. Within 2 or 3 weeks, you can probably dunk a mini basketball that you can palm.
I wonder if I could dunk a mini basketball today. I should have tried
You might
today.
be. You probably can. Yeah, I bet you can.
Yeah, that would have been sick. I bet I could have. Yeah, because I surprised myself because I don't really jump much, like I said, but with these workouts I've been doing, my like lower body feels opened up. You know what I mean? Just like your body feels open and it just feels flowing and.
That's cool because that's the one. So like I said, I've never been like a great athlete, but like the things I was best at, I'm still pretty fast. Like when I like foot race my friends or do like sprints, I'm still like retained my speed. But jumping went from like mediocre to 0. Like I can't jump at all anymore. Completely lost all because I didn't play basketball or jumping sports since high school or since middle school. So
I feel like you'd get it back though if you just.
I just work those muscles.
Like work them out. You probably haven't worked them out. It's like climbing, you're working all this upper body stuff.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu.
I'm not squatting, and I'm not. Yeah. Well, jiu-jitsu, you work your legs, but it's more like flexibility and different kind of strength than the jumping strength.
Yeah. This guy, Trabir Rear says, Poppy, I am watching you from Antarctica. Listen, if you're watching me from Antarctica, you got to show me some fucking proof, okay? Send me something on Twitter at JoingHim1.
Fixer, it didn't happen.
Listen, dude, you can't be making allegations you're watching from Antarctica and not show us that you're there watching from Antarctica, so.
That's crazy.
Nonstop said, I just saw DNegs made legend rank at Hearthstone. I don't know what that means. You play Hearthstone?
No, but I mean, I played StarCraft, and they had Master, Grandmaster, stuff like that. Maybe Legend. So Grandmaster for StarCraft on a server was top 200, and Master was like maybe top like 600 or 700. So maybe Legend's kind of the same. Maybe he's top 200 on the server.
Yeah, I don't know. What can you tell me what that is, Vernon? I don't know what that is actually. Legend. Yeah, I don't play any other games, man. I play the YouTube game a little bit with my channel. Podcast. Yeah. I play the podcast game. Yeah. I like playing these games more than video games. This is like real life games are fun to play. Like how
video games are fun. Video games are fun, but the problem, it's just like hours in a day, man. I want to do everything, but you don't have the hours to do everything you want. Like I want to go back and I want to like beat all these video games I played when I was little, and I want to like grind StarCraft, but I also want to learn all this stuff and play poker and play DFS and get in good shape. And now I don't have any hours and I'm overbooked, and you can't juggle everything. You got to make choices.
Yeah.
And travel, and I mean it's hard, man. You can't be a hermit and learn everything and not do anything with your life. And
you could. I was thinking about that. What if you just learned for like a year?
Like what if you like went to prison and you had like a year to just learn anything you wanted?
Do you got YouTube?
No.
That makes it way easier to learn YouTube.
But you get books.
You still be benefit a lot. Like if you just read
for a year,
100 books in a year.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to like implement a lot of things you read. I mean, you could do it to like the prison folk, I suppose, but that could be fun. Yeah,
it'd be fun going to prison.
I mean, it makes the idea of prison sound more fun, I suppose.
Right,
I mean,
it's like, and you have like no stress. You're just chilling. You're like, I'm here.
You gotta pay no fucking bill. I mean, shit, you already busted out. You fucked anyway.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it could. I mean, it could be.
You get in good shape and you read books. That's it.
You do like 1,000 push-ups a day or something like that.
Yeah, right. I mean,
sleep on a terrible bed.
Yeah.
Get raped.
Depends what kind of crime you commit. If you go to like a camp, like white collar prison, you're not getting, nothing's happening.
Hope not.
No.
I mean, fuck, you turn gay. What do you think? Get raped or turn gay? What do you do in that spot? I don't know. Like you
got to kick somebody's ass or become somebody's bitch, right? Yeah.
Fuck, man, I'm finding the biggest motherfucking guy there, man. Team up. I'm getting in the squad. I don't know, man. That sounds. Oh my God, we're getting off the rails here. It's a legend is the top 0.5% of players. Top 6,000. That's top 2%. So, which one is it?
No, top 0.5. So 1 in 200. So top 6,000 people, and top 1 out of every 200. So that means what? There's 1.2 million people who play Hearthstone.
No. Well, this one says top 2%, then top 0.5%.
Oh, I thought it said top 0.5.
There's both. This is both. One says, well, Nicholas said top 2%. Vernon said top 0.5%. So I'm not sure which one it is. I guess we'll never know. You have the stress of getting raped. That's what I just, I mean, you kind of do. So, all right, Pop, let's wrap this up. Man. We could go forever.
Yeah.
We could. Kid, nice talking with you, man.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Oh, man. Good luck during the NFL season. We're following like you want to follow Ryan on Twitter. Listen, if you watch this long, tell us. Like, hit me and Ryan. Hit me at JoingHim1. Hit Ryan up on Twitter at RC. Tell us you watched. Tell us you made it this long. Like, just tell me what you took away from it. Because if you watch this whole thing, I actually think it's been really good. So if you watch the whole thing, like, much love to you. Let me know what you thought.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious here. So Poppy, I'll talk with you soon, my friend.
All right, man.
All right, man. Peace out. Peace out. Guys in the chat, much love. I'm out of here. Adios. See you later.